What's up, friends? Welcome in to Rock Chalk Sports here on KansasNation.com. Thanks as well for listening on Sports Radio 810 WHB and ESPN Wichita 92.3 FM. Elijah Schmidt runs the operations here at Kansas Nation. Alongside Dan Courtwright, I am Sean Kellerman. Thanks for joining us as we get you ready for the big game. Kansas and Oklahoma State, number 8 ranked Jayhawks, taking on the Cowboys, a team who have been kind of on and off the bubble. They need this one if they want to make sure their bubble isn't officially popped. But that goes down at 8 o'clock. Coverage will start here very shortly. We're happy to break that down for you here in the Kansas Nation studios. We are downtown in Lawrence, a state-of-the-art private event space and video podcast studio. And you should check out KansasNation.com. We've got a variety of shows on our Kansas Nation podcast network, including ours, Rock Chalk Sports, where we broadcast live 4 to 6 each day, Monday through Friday.
Yeah, absolutely. Check out our show, Rock Chalk Sports, every day from 4 to 6 on KansasNation.com, as well as ESPN Kansas City. It's 1510 AM, 94.5 FM. All of our shows, all of our podcasts are going to be on our YouTubes as well as everywhere you can find your podcast. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, KansasNation.com. Everywhere you go, they will be up there. We got Haney and the Hawks, where Brian Haney, the voice of the Jayhawks, brings in Jayhawks of old and talks about the glory days. Also got Between Two Fountains with Greg Gurley and Mick Schaefer. A little bit more Kansas City based, but a really fun podcast with two of the best personalities, I would say, in Johnson County. Also got the Timeout with Tyshawn Taylor podcast hosted by Rock. Tyshawn talks about his time at Kansas, talks about KU basketball. It's a fantastic podcast as well. Inside KU with Laney Boger, and also the Jayhawker podcast, which is the official podcast of Kansas Athletics, hosted by Nate Bucady. So a lot of great content for you guys. Also check us out everywhere on our social media platforms as well. Facebook, Kansas Nation, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, at the Kansas Nation, and our Kansas Nation YouTube page as well. We're always putting out content for you guys to make sure that you get the best available for KU Athletics. So be sure to follow us, like, subscribe, share, whatever you can do to spread the good word about Kansas Nation.
If you're watching on KansasNation.com or Facebook Live, YouTube Live, obviously we've got a full show for you here on Rock Chalk Sports, as we do daily 4 to 6. But if you're listening on Sports Radio 810 WHB and ESPN Wichita 92.3 FM, again, appreciate you joining us here for this Kansas and Oklahoma State breakdown. KU 19-6, 9-3 in Big 12 play. Oklahoma State 16-9 after losing just one game in the non-con. They are 4-8 in Big 12 play. Want to recognize Miles Schneier and his team over at Crown Automotive on South Iowa in Lawrence. They will get you in the vehicle that you need. If you have a chance, go over to Crown Automotive on South Iowa. Great line of new and used vehicles. And if you can't get over there in person, CrownAutomotive.com is the place to be. Miles Schneier, founding partners of us here at Kansas Nation. Dan, let's get into this. Of course, a lot going on. Big 12 basketball, final 2.5 weeks of the season. Anybody who's been watching or listening to our shows throughout this week, we've been looking ahead and speculating about the standings, the final record for the top 5 teams in conference play. As before last night, there was a little bit of separation with teams with 3 or fewer losses to the teams that have 5 or more losses. And of course, late last night in the desert, Arizona State beats Texas Tech. Texas Tech loses JT Toppin to injury late in this one. And ASU, man, they did everything possible to give this game away. I was watching. It was like 12:15 in the morning. I hadn't gone up to bed yet. And I was like, wow, Arizona State is going to find a way to blow this game. They were up by 11 at the under 4 timeout. Christian Anderson hits a 3. And then Arizona State had a couple turnovers that make it a surprising thing that Bobby Hurley is still breathing today.
Sure.
Because he was losing his mind. They had a live ball turnover that led to an Anderson layup on a run out. They had the classic middle school play where you inbound the ball and the guy catches it near the baseline and you just had to get it in, and then he gets trapped at the baseline and then he leaps and just chucks it toward half court. Man. And the opposing team, in this case Texas Tech, got it. And
the Virginia Furman special.
Exactly. That's exactly what it was. And twice Arizona State fouls Texas Tech, puts them at the line. Just crazy stuff. But the Sun Devils do end up winning. Tech now has 4 losses, and we'll get into that as it relates to KU and, of course, the Big 12 conference race. But I thought it was interesting. That's always how it goes when you try to look ahead and say, oh, well, this team's going to lose that one and win that one. It's just not how it works.
Yeah, it's always hilarious because, like you said, over the last couple of days, we have absolutely been there's a car going off right now, but it's okay. We have been looking at this thinking like, oh, yeah, Texas Tech, they'll win these. They'll drop these 2. Houston, or they might drop this one here. Arizona might drop this one there. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Arizona State beats Texas Tech. And it certainly did Kansas a favor, right? Where we were looking ahead and thinking, man, Tech's right there too. And Henry Greenstein had a great tweet the other day where it was between the 5 teams, Houston, Arizona, Texas Tech, Kansas, and Iowa State. One of those teams is going to be playing on Wednesday in the Big 12 tournament, which is just unfathomable to even think about, that one of those 5 teams, all within the top 25, within the top 15 really, are going to be playing somewhere on Wednesday, and they're not going to have one of those buys. And it's crazy to think about. Obviously, Texas Tech's a really good program. They lost JT Toppin, like you said, to an injury, so that's unfortunate. Hopefully he's able to get back. I haven't seen any word in terms of kind of what that has been.
Yeah,
but
I've been keeping a close eye.
Again, another just an absolutely huge favor to Kansas. And we've talked about this. The Big 12 is just such a gauntlet that you're never going to be out of it, because the Big 12, what do they love to do? They love to beat up on each other. And that's a prime example here with this Arizona State game against Texas Tech. And it goes to prove to you that Texas Tech, they're not Iron Man, right? They can drop a couple, and Houston can drop a couple. We saw Houston drop one at Iowa State. Arizona's not impervious to this. They wound up losing 2 in a row in a week when they were previously undefeated before that week to Kansas and Texas Tech, obviously 2 very solid programs. But there's good teams in the Big 12, even in that middle tier of the Big 12 too, that can really lay some impact. And we're going to talk about one today in Oklahoma State.
Yeah, Oklahoma State, like I said, they've been on the bubble, off the bubble. They had that loss on Saturday to TCU, one that really jolted TCU into the first four games that go on in Dayton, last 4 in bracketology, according to many bracketologists. But a lot of games to be played, and I was going to do this later, but before we get into KU Oklahoma State, let's look at the Big 12 standings, because we've been talking about that. Greenstein's tweet, like you said, was focused on the top 5 teams in the conference. Of course, 16 teams in the conference. But now everything gets a lot more interesting. It's a lot more jumbled in the middle, right? Because now you've got a Tech team with 4 losses. BYU and West Virginia are right there. They're both 7-5, and then UCF is 7-6. TCU, Cincinnati are 6-7. There's a lot of teams that are just kind of hanging around, and it's different than it was in terms of, okay, there's the invisible line between the 2 and 3 loss teams and then 5 or more loss. It just, the Tech loss makes it more interesting on that front. And I think it's just a reminder that there's a lot of possibilities with so much basketball left to be played. But Houston 11-2, Arizona 10-2, Iowa State 10-3, Kansas 9-3, and Tech 9-4. Important for KU to win tonight and remain in that top 4, because you want the double bye at the Phillips 66 Big 12 Championship that starts here in a couple weeks. Important game, kind of a trap game in my opinion, something that I've looked at throughout the season as, okay, yeah, we understand that we have this month full of Arizona and Iowa State, and BYU was in there, and you had to go to Texas Tech, but there's this game in Stillwater late night on a Wednesday night where Oklahoma State, a team with a prolific offense, is going to have a full crowd. They're going to be very hungry, and in this scenario, they're very hungry for not just a win over Kansas, but a marquee victory for bubble reasons. And it's not always been the kindest place to play. Bill Self started 3-6 his first 9 games as a Kansas head coach at Stillwater, but now he's 9-8 in his career, so it's gotten better of late. The house wasn't packed when TCU came to town on Saturday. It'll be packed tonight, Dan.
Yeah, it always is whenever Kansas comes to town. And we've talked about this, and I've been talking about this all week, and at the beginning of Bill Self's tenure at Kansas, that was the story of, oh, Bill Self, he's going back to his alma mater. He can't win there because it's an emotional game for him, whatever. He's been here for 20-plus years. that's over, right? Now he's just Kansas's head coach. Oh, yeah, he did play basketball at Oklahoma State, but that has gone by the wayside, and Bill Self's been able to go on some winning streaks here. And Oklahoma State, they're not as good as they once were, I will say, in terms of history, right? You look at those early 2000s, even into the 2010s Oklahoma State teams, they had some pretty damn good teams. Now, with some coaching changes, with the NIL
and the transfer portal
era, it's gotten to where they've kind of got swept up in it. And these last like 2, I'd say maybe even 3 years, they've been kind of in this limbo of, yeah, they're right in the middle, maybe lower tier of the Big 12. But they do have some really solid players. And, you know, we kind of, we'll talk more about it, but I know you want to break down kind of their schedule and the way that it's gone. But at Oklahoma State, they're still a Big 12 team. They still have really talented players. They have one of the most prolific shooters in the nation right now in Anthony Roy, and this isn't a game where you can look past it. You want to say this is another one of those get-through games, kind of like Utah, right? You got to get through the Utah game, and Kansas started off slow against Utah, but they were looking forward to Arizona. Kansas has a gauntlet coming up, and you have to include this game in it as well because it's going to be a hostile environment out in Stillwater.
After this game in Stillwater tonight, Kansas hosts Cincinnati at home. Cincinnati, I just found out yesterday, news to me, a top 10 defensive efficiency team.
Yeah, that's weird.
On KenPom. Wes Miller has kind of turned it around a little bit. I mean, 6-7 in conference play after a disastrous start.
Early in conference play, they were wearing bags on their heads.
They figured it out.
And they figured it out, yeah.
Oklahoma State's second-year head coach, Steve Lutz, they can score more on their team stats and some individuals here shortly. But first thing you look at when you look at their schedule is the exhibition game against Auburn. They won 97-95. And, you know, I like what college basketball has done in that Kansas is playing Louisville, and Kentucky's playing Purdue, and Oklahoma State's playing Auburn, you know, in the exhibition. I get it's exhibition. Rosters change a lot due to injury and different reasons throughout the season, but still, I mean, that's a nice win over an Auburn team that's going to probably be a top 5 seed in the NCAA tournament. Other games of note for Oklahoma State, we mentioned they had an extremely successful non-conference. That includes a 24-point win over Texas A&M. That's an NCAA tournament team in Texas A&M. They also have a 20-point victory over Northwestern. They had a nice victory over Grand Canyon, who likely will be a conference champion and in the NCAA tournament. They lost to Oklahoma. That game was played at the home of the Thunder, Paycom in Oklahoma City. But then a lot of mid-majors that Oklahoma State took care of. Big 12 play started, and the Pokes had a record of 12-1. So a very strong non-conference, a couple nice wins to bolster their resume, but just 4-8 in conference play. Their wins in conference play are against UCF, K-State. Remember, that was a 1-point win at Gallagher-Iba where K-State fouled a 3-point shooter, and it was Victorious Miller who got fouled and hit all 3 to close out the Cowboy victory. Also have a win over Utah and a win over BYU. The best win, unquestionably, is the win over BYU, but they also have that 11-point victory over UCF, who we know is good enough to beat Kansas.
And UCF was 25 at the time that they beat them.
It was right after Johnny Dawkins and company had gotten back in the rankings for the first time in a long time, and Oklahoma State beat them. So the BYU win, again, when BYU was at full strength, they had Richie Saunders, was impressive. They lost the Arizona swing recently. They lost to Arizona State 85-76, and they got killed by Arizona 84-47. Arizona was looking like a wagon of all wagons when they defeated Oklahoma State by 40, and then the Wildcats lost to both Kansas and Texas Tech. Mentioned the most recent game for Oklahoma State was on Saturday. They lost in overtime to TCU. We know that TCU, even though they didn't beat Kansas, I think they proved that on any given night they could beat pretty much anybody, as they were up 16 on Kansas late in that one. So 4-8 record, a little bit deceptive because they have good players. Now, there are things they don't do well, and they've lost to some mediocre to bad teams for sure, but they've got some star power, Dan.
Yeah, they absolutely do. And, we can kind of break down some of their primary guys, maybe guys to look out for in today's game. Anthony Roy, the head of the Snake, coming over from the Fighting Doug Gottlieb's over at Green Bay. Obviously, there was he was one of the best scorers, I will say, for Green Bay last year. Even though Green Bay was terrible last year, they won 4 games or whatever it was. Anthony Roy was really, he was scoring 25, 26 points a game. I mean, he was just their only player. Winds up going to Oklahoma State, and he hasn't missed a beat. He's 17.6 points per game, shooting 42.3% from the three-point 3-point line. The guy is a prolific scorer. Also, the ball runs through him. He's averaging, 1.2 assists per game, also 4 rebounds per game. He's kind of a do-it-all guy, and he can do a lot of really good stuff out there on the court. Victorious Miller, as you pointed out, had the 3 free throws down late against Kansas State in that game. He had an incredible non-con, and then in the conference play, he's kind of taken a little bit of a dip, but still a really good player. Victorious Miller, 12.2 points per game. He's also shooting roughly 40% from the 3-point line. Talk about Jalen Curry and Christian Coleman. Bill Self pointed out that they are quick. They are fast. They can swarm to the ball. They're good on the defensive end, too. 10.2 points per game for Jalen Curry. He's shooting only 28% from the 3-point line, but still can do a lot of really good stuff when he's out there. And Christian Coleman, 9.5 points per game, shooting 32% from the 3-point line. Talk about some of the guys down low. Parsifala, he's really their best guy in the front court, 14.3 points per game, 6.2 rebounds per game, and he's shooting 41% from the 3-point line. So he can do a lot of stuff, and he's a multi-level scorer as well. He can do some stuff down low. He can also hit some threes whenever you need him to, right? He reminds you a little bit of Bryson Tiller in that aspect of he's a big man who's got a little bit of range to him. So all in all, they have some really solid players, and when you kind of look at where they're at, their playing style is not up to par with a lot of the people in the Big 12, at least what we've seen in conference play. But what we've seen in the non-con, we've seen guys be able to take over games. We've seen Victorious Miller be able to take over games. We've seen Anthony Roy be able to take over games. Parsifala can take over games whenever he wants to as well. But you look at the talent disparity between Kansas and Oklahoma State. I think Kansas has the much more talented team, especially when Darren Peterson is 100% fully healthy. Darren Peterson has thrown up some stinkers, right? We've seen him shoot 30% from the field, not be able to put down some shots. Obviously, he was coming off some flu-like symptoms, been dealing with some crampings, been dealing with different things here and there. But if Darren Peterson is 100% healthy, ready to go in this game, I don't think it's going to be a problem. And then you have Flory Badunga and Bryson Tiller down low, who are just going to be incredible. I think Parsifala is a really good player. They also have Andrija Vukovic, who averages 4.8 points per game, only about 15 minutes per game. But I think that there is going to be a little bit of a mismatch down low. And I think that's where Kansas is really going to kind of win this game.
Rock Chalk Sports, we air 4 to 6 Monday through Friday on KansasNation.com. We're going to break down some team stats here for Oklahoma State, but appreciate everybody listening on Sports Radio 810 WHB and ESPN Wichita 92.3 FM. I am Sean Kellerman. I'm alongside Dan Courtwright. Again, check us out on KansasNation.com. Rock Chalk Sports 4 to 6 daily, a part of the Kansas Nation podcast network. A lot of great KU coverage for you. Yeah, you mentioned some of the individuals, Dan. Okay, here's the bottom line with this game. Kansas can and should score in this game.
Yes.
Oklahoma State is not strong defensively. I look at conference stats only when we're this deep into the season. Both Kansas and Oklahoma State have played 2/3 of their conference games. Offensively, Oklahoma State, number 5 in the conference, averaging over 77 points per game. Defensively, they are dead last, meaning below K-State, below Arizona State. They give up nearly 85 points per game. If Kansas scores fewer than 80 points this game, I'm not saying they're going to lose, but I'm saying, what are we doing? Like, we got to find a way to get our offense in high gear. Kansas offensively has had some issues. They only scored 56 against Iowa State. Darren Peterson, Trey White weren't good. Those guys need to be big-time scorers for KU. Field goal percentage, Oklahoma State, 8th in the conference. Opponent field goal percentage, 10th in the conference. 3-point field goal percentage, Oklahoma State, 3rd in the conference. That's something that jumps out at you as they shoot 35.6% from 3. But they also allow teams to shoot really well from 3, as teams are shooting 36.9% from 3 against Oklahoma State, 14th in the conference from a defensive standpoint. Rebounding margin, for the most part, Oklahoma State really struggles. They are 15th in the conference at minus 5.3. That's another area, to your point, where Flory Badunga, Bryson Tiller, they should be able to establish dominance. And you'd love to see Trey White assert himself. Even if he's not scoring, he hasn't been rebounding at as high of a clip either. And we understand he had oral surgery before the Iowa State game. Trey White was awesome the first 2.5 months of the season. KU needs that player to be a national contender, in my opinion. That guy to go out and be who he was the beginning portion of this year, and we expect that that'll be the case. Oklahoma State, middle of the conference in both turnover margin and assist to turnover ratio as well. You brought up an interesting point regarding Oklahoma State's guards, because Bill Self mentioned that yesterday at the press conference. it's a little bit of a different feel when Coach Self says that compared to when he would have said it last year, because he talks about the athletic, quick guards that they have. Man, if and when that was said last year about a Kansas opponent, that's a death sentence for KU because you couldn't match that. DeJuan Harris, Zeke Mayo, they had a lot of good attributes to their individual games, but they weren't overly quick, overly athletic. That's not a secret, right? This year's team has Melvin Council and Darren Peterson and Elmarco Jackson. That shouldn't be an issue. Kansas should not be out athletic by anybody in the conference. Oklahoma State's going to provide that. You know there's going to be stretches where Oklahoma State's going to be feeling it from three. You know they're probably going to shoot 30, 35 threes. Can Kansas stop the bleeding? Because we've seen it get away from them at times. It was earlier this year, but we've seen it against teams like West Virginia, UCF, even TCU at home, where a team goes on a long run. KU's unable to stop the bleeding. Hopefully they're able to do that. And again, another reason that you should feel confident is KU should have guys get to the free throw line. You get Peterson back to his old self. You get White back to his old self, and that's another way to do that.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at this, and I'm looking at KenPom right now, they're the 13th team in the nation in terms of adjusted tempo. That means they like to go, and they like to go fast. They like to put up shots fast. And now when you look at this, there's a couple of different ways you can look at this. Number one, they give up buckets, and they give up buckets fast. And that's why they have so many possessions per 40 minutes. But also, they like to push the ball. And if you watch Oklahoma State, you can tell their offense is super high caliber, super fast. They like to put up a lot of shots in a short amount of time. They don't bleed the clock, right? So whenever teams can push you like that, that's a dangerous place to be in, because all of a sudden Kansas could find themselves kind of on their heels a little bit, and you could see Oklahoma State go on some runs, right? So to your point about free throws, that was a big point of emphasis over the last 2 years, was Kansas does not get to the free throw line as much. If Kansas can get to the free throw line in this game, that's, I don't want to use the word boring, but it does stop the bleeding and it stops the tempo. And that's what Oklahoma State likes to do. They like to push tempo. They like to, make sure that there's these volleys, if you will, of back and forth, answer, those kinds of things, because that's the way that they're able to keep in a lot of these games. You look at the TCU game, that was in the 90s. Yeah, it went to overtime, but still, you're seeing a lot of high-scoring games with this Oklahoma State team. So if Kansas is able to stop the bleeding, get to the free throw line, and not allow a lot of possessions for Oklahoma State, and that's going to come down to a lot of offensive rebounds as well. We saw Kansas get absolutely killed on the offensive rebounding side of things against Iowa State. You can't allow that to happen against Oklahoma State as well. So you got to be able to stop that high tempo offense that they have.
What of those highlights your keys to the game? KU and Oklahoma State tip off at 8, Gallagher Iba.
Yeah, I got a couple of keys to the game. Number one, and like I said, it's all going to tie back into what I just said, where you got to stop that tempo. You got to get to the free throw line. That's where you're going to win this game. You're going to win it down low as well. Florida doing good. Bryson Tiller, they need to have huge games. You want to see them shooting upwards of 75, 80% from the field down low. You want to see a lot of post touches from them. Also, got to see the three-pointers drop, right? You got to see Darren get hot. You got to see Trey White get back into that rhythm. He was looking like Steph Curry there at the beginning of conference play. My goodness, that came out of absolutely nowhere with Trey White. Then all of a sudden, we've seen him kind of drop off a little bit. Yes, he had the oral surgery. I understand that. But again, it's not an excuse. Bill Self even said that in his post-game or in his press conference previewing Oklahoma State. You got to let the three-pointers drop. You got to be able to get to the free throw line. And the most important thing, you cannot lose the offensive rebounding battle or the turnover battle. That was the largest disparity in the Iowa State game. I think that is where Kansas absolutely lost that game. Kansas was with Iowa State. If you look at every single other statistic, you look at, field goal percentage, you look at everything else, you go, Kansas should have been in this game. They should have lost it by that much. Where did they lose this game? It was offensive rebounding in the first half, and also it was the turnover battle. Kansas turned the ball over a lot, so you cannot allow that to happen.
Kansas should be walking into this game with confidence. We understand it didn't go well at Iowa State. Iowa State, a much stronger team than Oklahoma State. And as I said at the open of the segment, Houston 11-2, Arizona 10-2. Iowa State 10-3, Kansas 9-3, Tech 9-4. Now Tech with that loss, as Kansas would be if Kansas were to take a fourth loss. All of a sudden, you've got the teams with 5 losses in your rearview mirror, right? And you don't want to have to worry about playing on the Wednesday of the Big 12 tournament. This is such a big game to get through for Kansas, because then you get some home cooking. 3 of your final 5 are at home. You know that you still have really tough matchups against Arizona on the road and Houston at home, but hey, as we talked about, with Houston losing to Iowa State, blowing that lead late on Monday night, Kansas controls their own destiny.
That's
if
right.
KU wins the rest of their games, a big if, a difficult task, but if that happens, then Kansas will get at least a share of the Big 12 championship. It all goes down 8 o'clock. Gallagher, Iba, Brian Haney, and Greg Gurley on the call alongside producer-engineer Steve Kincaid. Crimson and Blue Show coverage, of course, 6:30 across the Jayhawk Radio Network. We're Rock Chalk Sports, 4 to 6 daily here at the Kansas Nation Studios in Lawrence, downtown on Mass Street. Check us out on kansasnation.com, also Facebook, YouTube. If you're watching on any of those outlets, then we're going to continue on. But thanks to everybody who's been watching this Kansas Nation pregame show or listening on Sports Radio 810, WHB, and ESPN Wichita 92.3 FM.
What's up, everybody? Dan Peterson. Everybody go check out kansasnation.com.
Listen up, guys. Summer is coming, and there's no better time than right now to ignite your health and feel your best. Whether you're chasing peak performance, trying to reignite intimacy, or simply want to feel your best, Game Day Men's Health Lawrence is your calling. Situated in a plush man cave setting, their services for testosterone replacement therapy, ED, vitamin therapy, and weight loss are sure to give you the boost you need. Make an online appointment today by searching for Game Day Men's Health Lawrence. Step up your game in 2026 with Game Day.
Go all electric in a 2026 BZ for 0% APR. Built to move you, designed to electrify. Low APRs for 2026 Camry and Tundra models.
Together, we're elevating our potential, our pride, our traditions, and our dreams. Together, we're opening up a whole new world of possibilities. Elevate your University of Kansas experience with Jayhawk checking from Central Bank. Central Bank and KU, elevating together.
This is SSJ. Winter in Kansas City doesn't mean your lawn takes a break. It means smart homeowners get a head start. Let David and his crew from Custom Lawn and Landscape prepare your yard for a greener, healthier spring with winter fertilization, soil conditioning, and pre-emergent treatments that stop weeds before they start. Because when the snow melts, you don't want to start fixing your lawn. You want to already be winning. Trust Custom Lawn and Landscape, treating your yard now so it looks incredible later. Visit CustomLawn.com to schedule your winter services today.
Sports Radio 810 WHB, the radio home of the Indianapolis 500, the NBA Finals, the World Cup, the U.S. Open, Major League Baseball, the All-Star Game and the World Series, BCS Bowl games, the National Football League, the NCAA Tournament, Sunday and Monday Night Football, Sunday Night Baseball, the Super Bowl. People get their sports from Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Jayhawk basketball taking on the Cowboys of Oklahoma State tonight. An all Big 8 matchup. Isn't that crazy?
I know. It is kind of crazy. I was talking about this with Tyshawn Taylor, and I didn't clip this out on purpose, but I was talking about this about how, like, when there's other former Big 8, I guess, Big 12 schools like the OGs before, like, 2011, whenever they're playing against like Utah or Arizona or UCF, I'll always find myself rooting for them. Like if Oklahoma State's playing against Utah, I'll be like, go Oklahoma State. You know what I mean? Like I cheer for the OGs, and Tyshawn Taylor went as far to say like, yeah, man, if K-State's playing Arizona, I'm like, go K-State. I'm like, wow, there's like a line there, I guess. But right. Tyshawn, if you want to cheer for K-State, then you certainly can.
Tyshawn, as many people know, awfully good player. All-American type good player,
yeah.
Big 12 first team player. He had one loss at Allen Fieldhouse in his career. 4 years at Allen Fieldhouse, one of the winningest Jayhawks of all time. Only lost one game. It was the game to Oklahoma State.
That's right.
After Thomas Robinson's mom had passed away, and that snapped the long winning streak that Kansas had at Fog Allen. But
was that 2 games before the Mizzou game? Or no? Am I wrong about this? That was early in the year.
I have no clue. I have no clue. But yeah, excited to have Time Out with Tyshawn podcast on KansasNation.com, hosted by Rock, one of our many podcasts on the Kansas Nation Podcast Network. KU Oklahoma State tonight at 8. Crimson and Blue show starts at 6:30 on Sports Radio 810 WHB and across the Jayhawk Radio Network. Dan, Jayhawk basketball, there's a certain energy that comes with Jayhawk basketball. The crowd rising together, the band playing, and that unmistakable moment when fans lift their arms and wave that wheat. It's a tradition that represents pride, unity, and Jayhawk spirit. With Jayhawk checking from Central Bank, that tradition doesn't stop when the game ends. Jayhawk fans can carry their pride with them wherever they go with the official Jayhawk debit card, a simple way to show school spirit every day. Central Bank is proud to support the traditions and communities that bring people together. And as the proud community banking partner of the University of Kansas, Central Bank is committed to serving Jayhawk fans with banking options designed for real life, on campus, at work, and everywhere in between. If you're ready to wave the wheat beyond the stands, learn more about Jayhawk Checking and the exclusive debit card at jayhawkchecking.com. That's jayhawkchecking.com. Central Bank, the proud community banking partner of the University of Kansas, member FDIC. Felt like you wanted to say something. Let's hear it.
Oh, no. We're going to talk KU women's basketball.
Let's talk Jalea Davis. 7 straight Big 12 freshman of the week. Record breaker.
Yes, this is, I'm going to go through this because shout out to Doug Self for doing a lot of the research on this. Doug Self, one of our favorite SID Kansas communications guys.
He's got to be top 10, right?
He's
of all the KU SIDs out there.
In history.
No, current. Yeah, I would say he's got to be top 10.
Definitely top 10.
Okay,
isn't there like 10? Maybe there's probably like 8. I love Doug. He did an excellent job in terms of the research. But Jalea Davis, she was named Big 12 Freshman of the Week for the 7th. You heard me right, 7th straight week. A new conference record in terms of consecutive Freshman of the Week honors. And I want to talk about this. She's averaging about 19.5 points per game, 4.5 rebounds per game. KU, they won 1, lost 1 last week. She was incredible at all those. She had 14 points, 4 rebounds against Texas Tech. That's an off night for her. And she had 25 points, 5 rebounds against a bottom-feeding Houston team, 53.6% from the field, 81.8% from the free throw line over these last couple of games. And we've seen her free throw shooting continue to get better. That's like the one aspect of her game where I think she really needs to improve, and she's certainly done it. But check this out, these statistics. So in terms of most total Big 12 Freshman of the Week awards, Jalea Davis, she has 7 right now, and it's been 7 in a row. Total was Aoka Lee for Kansas State back in 2019-2020. She had 12, but she only ever got 6 in a row. I believe it was like a 6 and 6, maybe. Or maybe it was like 6-1 and then 6 or in 5 or whatever it may be. But she never got 7 in a row. She did get 6 in a row. So that is the record that was broken in terms of the Big 12. Then you look down even farther. Delaney Gibb for BYU. She won 10 Freshman of the Weeks last year in 2024-2025 season. We saw her just not have a great game for BYU whenever they played against Kansas. Kansas wound up winning that game. Dariana Littlepage Buggs from Baylor a couple years ago. She winds up with 8 Big 12 Freshman of the Week awards. And then Jalea Davis, again, with 7, but that's 7 in a row. You talk about consecutive Freshman of the Week awards in power conferences. So this isn't just the Big 12. This is talking ACC, SEC, Big East, Big 10, and the Big 12. You have Tiana Latson in 2022-2023 for Florida State. She had 8 consecutive. That's the number 1 spot. Number 2 is Jalea Davis for Kansas with 7. She is second all time in terms of Freshman of the Week awards in consecutive. She's tied with Anissa Morrow from DePaul for the Big East. And then you look at who's tied for 4th, Caitlin Clark and Aoka Lee. Anytime you jump Caitlin Clark in any kind of record books, that's pretty damn good, right? Caitlin Clark wound up with 6 Big 10 Freshman of the Week awards back in 2020, 2021. Aoka Lee also 6 straight back in 2019, 2020. And then you look at most total Big 12 Freshman of the Week awards. Brittany Griner winds up with 7 back in 2009, 2010. So whenever you're tied with Brittany Griner for something and you jump Caitlin Clark on another thing, that's pretty good.
Yeah, Jalea Davis, she's a real player. 7 straight Big 12 Freshman of the Week. Hopefully more to come. Couple more weeks of the regular season.
Yeah.
Kansas is in this weird stretch right now where they don't have a midweek game on the women's side. So next up is the trip to Bramlage. K-State is ahead of Kansas in the standings. Kansas, as I said a little bit earlier this week, they are on the next 4 out on Charlie Cream's women's bracketology. KU with that 6-9 Big 12 record. They're going to have to improve that, and 2 of their final 3 are on the road. The women's side, they only play 18 games, so a 6-9 record at K-State, a beatable team, as Greenstein has talked about throughout this season. And then you get Texas Tech at home. Kansas almost beat them last week in Lubbock. That would be a marquee victory. So you have a chance to get a marquee win. If you go 2-1, with the final game being at Oklahoma State on February 28th, then at least one of those is going to be a marquee victory. Then you have a pretty decent 8-10 record. Hopefully that is the bottom situation for Kansas women, because that gets them on the bubble and a chance to make some noise in Kansas City and get to the big dance. If you win all 3, you're feeling fantastic heading to Kansas City. But it all starts Saturday, 4 o'clock. You can watch it on ESPN+, KU K-State, the Dillons Sunflower Showdown. KU baseball back in action tonight at 6:05, so right after we are off air. Vincent Beck Stadium is the location. KU against Lamar. Coach Dan Fitzgerald talking about how he expects a great environment again tonight as the Hawks remain in Texas. A really emotional opening series where the Kansas baseball team took 2 of 3 from UT RGV. KU saw some big moments from offensive players like Augusto Mungarieta and Cade Baldridge. And, of course, Brady Ballinger was in there as well. But getting to see a lot of newcomers. Jordan Bach played a part as well. And then pitching, Dom Vagley didn't have his best outing, but Matisse Nayrol was awesome. And we got to see a lot of new names from the bullpen shine. Also, Kansas baseball back in action against Lamar. And then KU will wrap up its opening 12-day road trip with a weekend series at McNeese State. That starts Friday at 6 o'clock, so good luck to Coach Fitz. And KU softball, Dan, they are heading to Boca Raton for the Joan Joyce Classic.
I do want to say one thing about Lamar, though. They wound up losing yesterday to number 3 Texas, 14-4 in 7 innings. So just to put that out there, they are coming off of a massive loss. I don't know if that's going to be good or bad. They did wind up losing 2 out of 3 against Oakland in their opening series, but did wind up losing to Texas, who's the number 3 team in the nation, and obviously Texas baseball has been super good. But yeah, KU softball, they're traveling to Boca Raton this weekend. Joan Joyce Classic. They're facing FAU, Villanova, Southern Indiana, who just got eliminated from the NCAA basketball tournament, and then
hate
also
that. Absolutely hate that.
Right, and then also UMass as well. They had a really good stretch down there in Tampa, 7-2 win against USF. Jennifer McFalls, by the way, got her 150th career victory in that game, and a pair of run rule wins over DePaul and Yale. So Kansas has a lot of momentum coming into this. Obviously, we're not going to see Kansas until further into March because we're a cold weather state, I guess, if you will. We're a cold weather and hot weather state, but Kansas always likes to play those games early on in the season down in either Texas or Florida or wherever it may be. So a chance to get some good wins for Kansas. Obviously, FAU, Villanova, UMass, Southern Indiana. You got to win those games in order to kind of maintain this momentum, because Kansas has a really good squad this year. Obviously, Haley Kripe kind of headlines that. Kaylee Washington, shout out to Santa Fe Trail. She's a really good pitcher, too. So Kansas has a lot of talent on this team, and hopefully they can get some momentum in the early part of this season to be able to try to make the NCAA tournament. We knew they were close 2 years ago. Last year, had some struggles. They had some marquee wins, but still not able to make the NCAA tournament. So they need an NCAA tournament berth, because I think that they have the girls to do it.
I think if softball and baseball knew what the weather was going to be like today, they would love playing here in this cold weather state. Yeah. I get up to about 65.
Would you consider us a cold weather state?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would you consider us a hot weather
baseball
state or warm weather state?
No. We're
right
cold weather.
We're cold and hot. Like we're two ends of the spectrum.
It does just get absolutely baking hot in the summer.
That's what I'm saying.
It's great. I love it. I love all 4 seasons. We can go on a tangent about this, but like
you want to do
summer,
top 10 seasons?
We do top 4.
Top 4 seasons.
Yeah.
Okay.
In no particular order, though. I don't want to order them.
Right.
Yeah.
Football season.
Right. Valentine's. No, but yeah, it's going to be a little bit colder here the next few days. But shout out to KU baseball, KU softball, who have got their season off and running. Hey, after this, we're going to be joined by Henry Greenstein, KUSports.com, LJWorld.com to talk KU Hoops, preview the game tonight, KU Oklahoma State, and much more. That's coming up on Rock Chalk Sports, ESPN Kansas City, and KansasNation.com.
Miles Schneer's Crown Automotive, founding partner of Kansas Nation. Visit them at crownautomotive.com. Experience the Crown difference. Carfax top-rated dealer, Crown Automotive.
Hi there, Gary Joslin with Joslin's Jewelry. I'm not the class ring company. I'm a mom and pop jewelry store for 42 years. We were recently voted the gold medal #1 jewelry store in the greater Kansas City area by Ingram's Magazine. Come see us at Joslin's Jewelry, 9529 Antioch. Joslin's Jewelry, the jeweler you'll recommend to your friends and family.
Joslin's Jewelry, for the best that's yet to come.
This is SSJ. Winter in Kansas City doesn't mean your lawn takes a break. It means smart homeowners get a head start. Let David and his crew from Custom Lawn and Landscape prepare your yard for a greener, healthier spring with winter fertilization, soil conditioning, and pre-emergent treatments that stop weeds before they start. Because when the snow melts, you don't want to start fixing your lawn. You want to already be winning. Trust Custom Lawn and Landscape, treating your yard now so it looks incredible later. Visit CustomLawn.com to schedule your winter services today.
Performance, style, and technology. Check all your boxes in a 2026 Atlas, now 3.9% APR, or get 3.9% APR on a 2026 Jetta, the compact sedan that redefines the standard.
Haney and the Hawks is presented by Jefferson's with 2 Lawrence locations, home of the best wings in town. 21 signature sauces. You got to check them out. But if wings aren't your thing, how about a burger? They hand patty their certified Angus beef every single day. Also hand bread their tenders. They make their ranch in-house. There is truly something for everybody at Jefferson's. Go see my buddy Brandon Graham and the entire crew at Jefferson's, either on Mass or Wakarusa in Lawrence, Kansas.
Hello, it's Mark Whitlow from Office Products Alliance. OPA is not just your local office products connection. We have expanded our offerings to network cabling installation, security cameras, door access, and IT services. We all need to keep pace with new technologies. You can trust a Kansas City company that has been your partner for 32 years. Check us out at opakc.com. Supporting local businesses and our community is more important than ever.
Well, if you felt a crisp breeze coming off the Pacific Coast, it was because Henry Greenstein came in the Kansas Nation studio. Yesterday, of course, he's on the road already heading to Stillwater, but yesterday Dan and I got to catch up with the pride of LJWorld.com and KUSports.com to preview KU and Oklahoma State. And here's that conversation from yesterday. Henry Greenstein, KUSports.com, LJWorld.com, joins us now in studio to talk all things KU. Henry, a big one tonight, KU and Oklahoma State. This is one that has been circled on my calendar for quite some time in the middle of this long, tough February for the Jayhawks. But first, kind of your take on what transpired Saturday at Hilton Coliseum. A bit of a dud for KU. We figured we were riding pretty high. Not going to run the table. I think a lot of KU fans are smart and realize it was going to be a tough game. But, yeah, it was an ugly one on Saturday.
Yeah, this one felt doomed pretty early on. Didn't feel like KU was really prepared offensively to handle the traps and the double teams that Iowa State threw out. And, of course, that lets the crowd get into it at Hilton, and that's one place where you can't afford to let that happen. And then you see at halftime, and I think I turned to the people next to me. I was like, Milan Momcilovic is 0 for 4 from the three-point line. I don't think that's going to last. Yeah. And then he goes nuclear. He was like 4 for 5 in the second half or whatever. So,
that fadeaway in the corner was just
it was completely ridiculous. You have to tip your hat, as they say. So, an inevitability, I think. Can I fire off a sports radio-y take?
Please do.
Here?
That's what we're here for.
I don't do that very often. So, okay. First of all, Kansas is not better without Darren Peterson, but Kansas is better without Darren Peterson than with Darren Peterson when he's playing poorly. because then they defer to him a lot, and he doesn't make a lot of shots, and the offense has no rhythm. And so that was kind of what I felt like. Iowa State's a great defense. I don't want to take away from that. But it was also the ball getting stuck in the hands of someone who had some time off because he had been sick and hadn't played in the last game, and turned in his worst performance of the season at this point, which, again, somewhat understandable. But I just feel like to this point, KU is not such a well-oiled machine with Peterson that others can function incredibly well when he's having an off day. And there have been times where they've shown that. There were times during the win streak where we thought, okay, the two versions of this team have successfully merged, but then he's been out of the lineup again. So, Bill Self has said he feels like he needs a month with Peterson to see what the team can truly be. Well, that's got to start now to get it where it needs to be by the tournament. So that's something I'll be watching for against Oklahoma State, is how smooth things look on offense against the worst scoring defense in league games in the Big 12.
Yeah, hopefully it's a big game for DP and the KU offense, because you bring up a lot of good points. I mean, the consistency hasn't been there. We know that Trey White had oral surgery as well, so he was kind of in and out of practice. He hasn't been as effective. And you can take this wherever you want, but yeah, Iowa State was pushing Kansas out 35, 40 feet from the basket, and they couldn't really get anything going. Why was that, in your opinion? Aside from Iowa State being really talented and obviously being good schematically, it seemed like that rattled KU, and that's something that opponents down the line are going to look to mirror.
They absolutely will. I wouldn't be surprised if we see it as soon as this game. It's on tape now that it works. Self talked about this a little bit in the press conference leading up to this game. The idea that they need to get better at playing behind the double teams. Ideally, there should be someone to whom you can make a quick fire pass as soon as you see the guy blitzing you or whatever. And with some players, I also think another answer is just experience. Tiller was a victim of a couple of the double teams. Probably hasn't seen a lot of that in his career because he's not usually a prime target for it. But Iowa State sent a second guy at him just like it did at everybody else who was handling the ball. And also just not inbounding the ball into the corner would probably help a little bit, because there were a couple of times where they did that where it was pretty transparently obvious what was about to happen when that took place. So, there's a lot of ways you can address it. And there have been other times where that tactic hasn't worked super well for opposing defenses. I do think a lot of it is the personnel Iowa State has, especially some of the length and the experience they have at the guard position helps a lot with that. But, it's obviously something that other opposing defenses are going to try more going forward.
Yeah, 100%. Henry Greenstein, KSports.com, and the Lawrence Journal World. Henry, I kind of want to tie together what you said, because you said that KU is substantially worse with Darren Peterson on the court. I believe that was an exact quote from you. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. But I do have a question just about rhythm, right?
I saw my life flashing before my eyes.
I know, yeah. Clip that out, by the way. No, Trey White, over these last few games, just has not been the Trey White that we remember, right? Yeah. And sort of, in non-con, through the early part of conference play, he was shooting lights out from the three, and you kind of almost expected that to go down a little bit just because we knew the kind of player that he was. He'd been in college for a long time. He's never shot that well. Bryson Tiller also, and I talked about this with Kevin yesterday, kind of rise, plateau. We see him on this plateau right now, and he was clearly not ready for the amount of traps and double teams that Iowa State was really throwing his way. A lot of turnovers out of those guys. Do you think that has to do with the rhythm of kind of where Kansas is right now? And I guess just talk about those two guys, what you've seen out of them over these last couple of games, in Trey White and Bryson Tiller.
I'm not as worried about Tiller. When he was having that performance, he was 5 days removed from scoring 14 points in the first 7 minutes of a game or whatever. That doesn't bother me as much. Yeah. The Trey White thing is weird. I have to assume teams are playing him differently now and respecting him more based on what he did in the earlier part of the year. But if they're playing him as a shooter, you could think he could just drive past them, because he's pretty talented at doing that too and drawing fouls. And it just kind of feels like he really hasn't been involved all that much on the offensive end. The one issue that White had throughout the year, even when he was playing well, is the ball tends to stick a little bit with him.
Yeah.
And that's fine when he's drawing a foul at the end of the shot clock, but it's not as good when he's just sort of standing around and being a little stagnant. I think he's got to move more on and off the ball. I think that can help him get better opportunities. If he can go back to the fundamentals of being a cutter and a corner three shooter, which is what they envisioned him as when he got here, maybe he can kind of reconstruct what he was doing earlier in the year. If he starts from those kind of base capabilities. But yeah, I'm not sure. It's taken me a little bit by surprise because he was so consistent. I mean, I've talked about his consistency so much on this show even, and now he's in the closest thing to a slump that he's had this year. So they'll need him to get out of it because he should be like one of their primary scoring options.
Yeah, he's got to be for this Kansas offense to improve. And the KU offense, for as good as the defense has been, the offense has kind of been hovering around that 40 spot in KenPom offensive efficiency all season. You'd love to get a consistent Peterson and him be the offensive player that we know he can be to see really what this ceiling for Kansas can be on the offensive side. Henry, what was your reaction on Monday night when you saw the result of Houston-Iowa State? Houston had a 10-point lead. It dissipated, and seemingly good news for everybody else atop the conference, as there's a little bit of an invisible line between the number 5 spot in the conference and then 6 and below. Had Houston won that game, they'd still have one loss. And now Kansas, along with other teams, right there in the thick of it, KU controls its own destiny.
Yeah, I mean, a couple initial thoughts. First of all, I don't think this is the biggest takeaway from the game, but is Jamarian Bateman not going to be like a huge star?
He seems like he seems to be, yeah.
He seems pretty incredible.
He was good in the first game, too.
Yeah, he was. He had 12. I think that was one of his best performances of the season to that point at Allen. But, yeah, I mean, he's got the length. He's a knockdown shooter. Like, you can see him being a terror for Iowa State for years to come. So that was one thing I observed. The other thing is I don't know that this is incredibly positive for KU because while it does increase their chances of getting a share of the Big 12 title, if that doesn't happen, it now makes it harder for them to play on the first day of the Big 12 tournament, you would think. Because now, like, one of the two teams that was tied with KU for the 9-3 conference record in a 3-way tie for third, essentially, is above them. So in that respect, it makes it harder for KU to hold on to one of the top 4 spots in the league. So, but yeah, there was some positive to either outcome from a KU perspective. Certainly, it shows that Houston is mortal and can be beaten by teams other than Texas Tech. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure that was only their 4th conference loss since joining the Big 12. 2 to Tech, 1 to KU, and now 1 to Iowa State.
I'll look that up. That's crazy.
I think they had 2 losses the first year, or maybe it's their 5th. Regardless, they've been incredibly dominant. And, the more games like that they have, the more tape there is of them not doing exceptionally well that teams like Kansas can attempt to learn from. And you think about the possibility of them coming to Allen Fieldhouse 5 days from now. So, yeah, just another classic in what has been an action-packed Big 12 schedule.
Yeah, 100%. Henry, wanted to ask you about – sorry, I'm looking this up right now. I think you're right.
I saw someone tweet it. Okay.
I think they've had – 6.
What? Exclude the Big 12 tournament where they lost to Iowa State.
Yeah, okay. I am. So they had 3 in 2023 and 2024. Okay. And then they had 2 last year, and then 1 last year and the 2 this year. So
okay.
6.
So I'm placing the blame on whoever. I'm not taking information from random tweets anymore.
Yeah, that's fair.
Still,
that's unbelievable. I just had to do a quick check because they lost to KU. They had a 2-game losing streak in 23 and 24 against Iowa State and TCU. It was a tough little stretch there for them. I want to talk to you about Oklahoma State. Obviously, Anthony Roy, prolific scorer by way of the Fighting Doug Gottliebs,
and 4 other schools.
And 4 other schools.
His 6th school in 6 years.
Of course. But still a really good, scorer, really good 3-point shooter. And, Oklahoma State, they can put up some numbers. It's just a lot of things haven't gone their way in conference play. They had a really good non-con and then kind of fell apart in conference play. Still figuring some things out, but give us kind of a preview of what we can expect down in Stillwater.
Yeah, I mean, this team has one of the most inconsistent resumes of anyone, with the possible exception of TCU, which currently provides Utah's only conference win and is still like in the NCAA tournament field right now.
It's crazy.
Oklahoma State might have the least consistent resume. I mean, they beat BYU and they have losses to like Baylor and should have lost to K-State, but they fouled Victorious Miller on a 3 in the final seconds of that one. But yeah, Oklahoma State, a talented team, a dramatically different roster than even the first year under Steve Lutz. Obviously, Roy is the headliner, and he was putting up some insane numbers before he got hurt at Green Bay last year. He's still been good this year. When you hear self-compared to Milan Momcilovic, that's a concerning comparison given what he's done against KU. I think Roy is a slightly different player. I think he's maybe a little bit less of a pure shooter, and the shooting is just the primary aspect of a better rounded game. But, Self highlighted the speedy guards, Kanye Clary and Jalen Curry. And if that's what he thinks is Oklahoma State's biggest strength, you would think that's a pretty good matchup for KU. They got Melvin Counsell and Omarco Jackson out there
very true.
to deal with guys like that. Parsifal is a solid player inside. Actually, he played against Bakersfield when I was covering them when he was on Southern Utah, the same Southern Utah team that almost beat KU at Allen Fieldhouse.
Shout out to the Thunderbirds.
3 years ago.
Whoa. We didn't have Coach Self.
That's true. It was a Norm Roberts game.
It was Norm.
It was a 1-point game in the final minute and a half, and Grady Dick made a 3.
Yes, I remember when you were covering that game for Grady here for KUSports.com.
I was not there. But I still knew the details of the game.
There you go. Impressive stuff.
Despite that. Other than that, I don't know. Their bench doesn't impress me all that much. It's a team that can score a lot with those players we just mentioned, as well as Miller. Although Miller's numbers, I don't know if you've seen, are like dramatically down in conference play as opposed to non-con. But yeah, they can really score, but they, like I said, the worst points per game defense in the Big 12 during league games. That said, Ken Pom is nicer to them. Ken Pom only has them as like 9th among defenses. So maybe those numbers are a little unfair. Obviously, they've played overtime games and stuff like that. So a challenge for sure. Last time, the only time I've been to Gallagher, Iowa was 2 years ago, and OSU was really bad that year, and there was no one there. I have a feeling they'll be a little bit more excited for the matchup this time around, and should be closer than that one, which was a big blowout for KU. And it doesn't have quite the same House of Horrors reputation that it did when Self started out 3-6 in his KU tenure there.
Yeah.
He's now 9-8, so it's just kind of a regular road game, but one that will present a challenge as every game matters a lot now at this point in the year.
Yeah, the TCU Oklahoma State game on Saturday, we were here watching, and they had a couple shots of the crowd. And it was like, got a feeling there's going to be butts in those seats on Wednesday, and that'll definitely be the case tonight. Hopefully Kansas is able to fill it up. I mean, everything is pointing toward Kansas having a breakout game offensively. A lot of teams say that against Oklahoma State, but scoring should be a lot easier than it was in Ames. And KU's got to get this one. Then after this, you only have 2 road games left, one that nobody expects you to win at Arizona, and then one that you're expected to win at Arizona State. They're all a challenge in their own way, but important for Kansas to get the win and not drop 2 in a row. Henry, I want to talk KU baseball, but first, Kansas women's basketball. They beat Houston. Just a word on them because they don't have an easy path forward to close it out. We talk a lot about how, you got a good chance. This team is 6-9, 3 games left in an 18-game conference slate for the women. You've got at K-State, Tech at home on senior day, and then at Oklahoma State. K-State slightly ahead of Kansas in the standings, though I think viewed as having a worse season than the Jayhawks thus far. And then Tech and Oklahoma State in that top quadrant of the conference. What needs to happen for the KU women to make a run at this? They're the next 4 out on women's bracketology for whatever that means.
Yeah, I think I said this before, but the K-State, we were talking about strange resumes. The K-State women, they beat ranked teams and lose to the worst teams in the league. It's very strange. I believe they're 7-7 or something like that. I guess there's been one more game to them, so maybe 8-7 now in league play. It's always going to be tough to win at Bramlage, but that said, this is not the K-State of years past. So if there were ever a time to do so for KU, it would be now. This game means a lot to many players on KU's roster. They have a lot of Kansans who grew up watching this rivalry. To earn a sweep over them in this context would be really pivotal. Texas Tech, when you think about the fact that KU was incredibly close to beating them in Lubbock and will now have them now in Fieldhouse, that sounds like a recipe for a win, except for the fact that KU hasn't really been that great at home this year, strangely. So I'm not sure what to make of that. And then at Oklahoma State, you can talk yourself into them winning any game. Brandon Schneider has a great record against Oklahoma State. You can theoretically see KU winning any of these, but there have been a lot of games that we've penciled in as wins for them. They haven't followed through on this year.
We talked about this yesterday, where we collectively, us three, need to stop talking about, this is a winnable game.
Yeah, I know. And then they overperform in the ones where it doesn't seem
right. Exactly.
They would win. But yeah, they've got a solid chance. They probably need to either win all 3 of these or win 2 out of 3 and then win multiple games in the Big 12 tournament. But I do think they can beat anyone in the conference. They just have not done so well. Like when you think about the fact that you're going to get 25 points from Jalea Davis and like 18 to 20 points and 5 to 10 assists or whatever from Samaya Nichols, that's a good starting point. And the fact that Elle Evans is starting to play up to the level that we think she can is a great sign this time of year. Yeah. When you think about those 3, plus great front court options alongside Davis, that's a lineup that's extremely formidable. It just hasn't always worked out that way this year, but maybe they're rounding into form and can put it together and find themselves on a little bit firmer ground entering the Big 12 tournament.
Yeah, got to win your last few, get to 500, and hopefully make a run in the Big 12 tournament to try to get an at-large bid. Hopefully you win the Big 12 tournament. We know we have the talent to do so, but again, need to stop thinking about games as potentially winnable. You just got to go out there and win them.
I also think they're probably really regretting not winning the game where Samaya had 40 points.
Right.
Over Thanksgiving.
Georgia, was it?
Yeah, Georgia.
Yeah.
And then not winning the one where she only had 4 points, but it was a 1-point game in the final minute. Those are regrettable losses.
Yeah, a lot of tough losses for the KU women, but still some opportunities ahead. Henry, wanted to talk to you about KU baseball. They come out 2-1 against UTRGV. We talked about it on the show. UTRGV, they barely missed the NCAA tournament last year, and they had a lot of returners from last year too. Kansas drops the first one, but win the last 2. Interesting, maybe not the way that you anticipated it, because the game that Dom Vagley starts, you wind up losing. He winds up giving up 5 runs in 3 innings. And then you have 2 new starting pitchers come in and do really, really well. Your take on this, on this past weekend series against UTRGV and, hopefully what it will lead to in the upcoming series.
Yeah, I think maybe KU baseball fans were a little jaded as a result of last year starting 14-0 or whatever it was. Yeah. Maybe it wasn't that many, but they swept their first 3 series or something. So maybe expected they would be fully unscathed throughout their entire time in Texas. And of course that didn't prove to be the case on night 1. And by the way, Armani Regoza for UTRGV, an incredible player. Mm-hmm. He was the Southland Player of the Year last year and had some huge hits in this one to keep the Vaqueros close and to help win them that first game. A team with plenty of talent that will likely be in the conversation for a tournament spot this year if they can do better in the Southland tournament than they did last year. As for KU, I don't think anyone was super encouraged to see Dom Vagley start out with one of his lesser starts because it indicates this could be another season where maybe you have this and then next week he'll go 8 shutout innings, and then the week after that he'll go 3 innings and give up 5 runs again. So, or maybe not, but we'll see what happens. I think this could be a year where KU's relief pitching is stronger than his starting pitching. We will see. I was impressed by what I saw over the course of this weekend from guys like Bodie Ray, who will probably be the closer on most occasions, but they inserted him early because, the way KU uses closers, they try to go for just the most important outs of the game, wherever those may fall in the latter half of the game. So I was impressed by Bodie Ray, even though he gave up a home run to Regoza, I think it was. Toby Scheidt, I like the idea of having a side armor because it's kind of hard to prepare for that weird sort of delivery. And he got 3 important outs in the 8th, and then, of course, Caleb Deere, a guy we haven't talked about very much, but he had some big schools on him as a JUCO guy, and he ends up closing it out with the bases loaded to get KU the series win in that 3rd game. There's a lot to like about the starting pitching when you have a guy like Vagley and Matisse Nayral turning in such a great debut. Madden Seidel wasn't quite as good in his collegiate debut coming out of Emporia, but I think it might be a process for some of these guys to get to the level of what we saw out of KU starting rotation last year. Whereas I am bullish on the bullpen at this point.
The bullish pen.
I haven't talked as much about the hitting because it was good. Like it was good throughout. The people we thought were going to be good were largely quite good. Jordan Bach had an incredible weekend. By the way, you guys talked about the Minnesota series as the Brady Council game. KU has a player currently on its roster who was at Minnesota last year in Landon Lozier.
How about
that? Maybe you guys should think of that.
Landon Lozier is the revenge game. Hey, you know what? If KU hangs 29 runs and Lozier is a part of 5 straight homers, then it definitely will be front and center. Henry, always appreciate your time. KU baseball, by the way, they've got Lamar tonight in a midweek game. safe travels to Stillwater, and we'll catch up with you soon.
Thank you.
That's Henry Greenstein. Check out KUSports.com, LJWorld.com. More coming up on ESPN Kansas City and KansasNation.com.
Hey, what's up, Chuck Nation? Roby Dunga here, and make sure you check out the new KansasNation.com. Love Chuck.
Hello, it's Mark Whitlow from Office Products Alliance. OPA is not just your local office products connection. We have expanded our offerings to network cabling installation, security cameras, door access, and IT services. We all need to keep pace with new technologies. You can trust a Kansas City company that has been your partner for 32 years. Check us out at opakc.com. Supporting local businesses and our community is more important than ever.
We have a great selection of vehicles here. What's the best fit for you?
Maybe something a little smaller. Maybe just a little bigger. Getting closer. Perfect. Come experience the Chrome difference.
This is SSJ. Winter in Kansas City doesn't mean your lawn takes a break. It means smart homeowners get a head start. Let David and his crew from Custom Lawn and Landscape prepare your yard for a greener, healthier spring with winter fertilization, soil conditioning, and pre-emergent treatments that stop weeds before they start. Because when the snow melts, you don't want to start fixing your lawn, you want to already be winning. Trust Custom Lawn and Landscape, treating your yard now so it looks incredible later. Visit CustomLawn.com to schedule your winter services today.
Haney and the Hawks is presented by Jefferson's with 2 Lawrence locations. Home of the best wings in town, 21 signature sauces. You got to check them out. But if wings aren't your thing, how about a burger? They hand patty their certified Angus beef every single day. Also, hand bread their tenders. They make their ranch in-house. There is truly something for everybody at Jefferson's. Go see my buddy Brandon Graham and the entire crew at Jefferson's, either on Mass or Wakarusa in Lawrence, Kansas.
We are back live in the Kansas Nation studio. Thanks as well if you're watching on Facebook Live or YouTube Live. Been really pumped to
shout out
get
to
that
all you
going.
guys.
Yeah, excited for that. So lots going on, of course, in the world of KU. KU Oklahoma State tonight at 8 o'clock. Henry Greenstein, who you just saw last segment, he has already made his way down to Stillwater. He was gracious enough to swing by yesterday and record that segment that you just heard. And now, Dan, it's time for By the People, for the People, the KU Mailbag segment.
But first,
tell us about
Crown Automotive. Sean, thank you for that beautiful layup there. Crown Automotive here in Lawrence, over in my neck of the woods on South Iowa Street. They're going to get you in the car that fits your lifestyle. A whole line of new Toyotas and Volkswagens, great cars, obviously family-friendly cars. They have sports cars, trucks, vans, whatever you need to fit your lifestyle. And they're not just limited to Toyotas and Volkswagens. They have a number of different used cars as well from all different kinds of brands. So check them out, crownautomotive.com or crownmotorsvw.com.
KU Mailbag, who's kicking us off?
Sorry, I had a cough.
Man, yes, you did.
Oh, my bad. Hey, this is a great question. By the people, for the people, the KU Mailbag. Elliot. Sean, you're going to like this question.
I'm sure I will.
In a contest between Sean and Daniel,
I love it.
Who
We're starting hot.
A home run derby, 20 pitches in Hoagland Ballpark, a punt pass kick in the booth, and a 3-point contest in Allen Fieldhouse. Between you and I,
man,
can I tell you this right now?
Yeah.
I'm wiping the floor with you.
No.
In all 3 of these.
So when you laid those out, I'm obviously winning the 3-point contest.
That's
so
not
it
true.
Goes down to...
That's not even remotely true. There's no
punt
obvious.
pass
How's
kick.
that obvious? By the way, I just wanted to...
Are you good? Are you a good kicker, punter? Oh, yeah, we both hit a homer with this.
So, yeah, this softball right here, Sean and I played slow pitch softball. We both hit a home run with this ball. I went out and grabbed it, and now it's on the desk.
Shout out to Piper Johnson-Courtwright, who will be spearheading the softball team this spring.
Daniel Johnson. Anyway, how many home runs did you hit this year in slow pitch?
I think I hit 1.
Okay.
And you hit 2?
3.
1 didn't count.
Okay. Actually, technically 2 of them didn't count.
Okay, so you hit one.
I
Also,
hit 2 in one game, and then I hit another one that wound up losing the last game of the year.
it lost the game for us. Yeah, we said don't.
That's a stupid rule.
Hey, you got to
crank 'em.
stop complaining about the rules, man. You knew the situation. I told you earlier. I said we cannot hit a homer.
I know, and
it's pretty easy to not hit a homer.
sorry,
You do it every other time that you go up.
I'm sorry, I'm just too powerful. I'm sorry, I'm a Greek god, Sean.
Then why are you not too powerful every other at bat throughout the season that we needed you to hit a homer? Well, explain that to me.
Because I figured out my swing. I figured out my swing late.
So you hit 2 homers, I hit 1. So I'll give you the home run
3
derby.
homers. All right, give me 3. Give me a home run derby.
I'll give you the home run derby. Pump pass kick. I'm a pretty decent passer. I have
how
not
far
punted
can you
in a
throw a
while.
ball?
I don't know. What's your number?
I've thrown a ball 55 yards before.
No, you haven't.
Yes,
There's
I have.
no way.
We can go out to the practice field right now, and I can throw.
All right, go. I'll meet you there.
I can throw in at
after the
least
show.
50 yards right now. 55 was my max.
You leave right now, go to the practice field, and I'll meet you there.
Here's the thing. Maybe it's because I'm self-deprecating. You forget, I am a very good athlete.
Huh.
Yes, I was.
This is present tense you're using?
Yes, present tense. Past and present tense. Hasn't gone anywhere, partner. I'm still a hell of an athlete. I'm telling you.
Okay.
I can throw a ball 50.
I can more than hold my own.
I can throw a ball 51 yards right now without warming up. I can punt a ball.
How are you?
I can punt a ball probably 50 more yards.
How are you in the field on the softball diamond?
Oh, those first couple of games, I was good.
Okay, so you're solid. You're solid.
Yeah.
You're saying.
Man, if I had a better shortstop, who would throw me better?
Are you a natural infielder or outfielder?
I would say I'm a natural infielder. If I had a better shortstop who could get me the ball in my glove,
why would
I would have been better at first
If I'm
base.
at shortstop and you're in the outfield, why would I
was
in
playing
any
first
circumstance
base.
throw the ball to you when you're in the outfield?
I was playing first base, and then we had somebody else come in, and they're like, "I'm a first baseman." I was like,
"Huh."
So then I got shipped off to the outfield.
Oh yeah, shout out to Sarah. She is a really good first baseman.
She's nice.
She can dig. She can
you know
pick.
who else is nice? Me. 3-point
you're
contest.
struggling.
I'm killing you.
There's no way. That's the one I'm most confident in.
Do you know what my
That's me.
3-point percentage was in high school?
0. Yes, 1 for 1. I know.
I was 100%. 100%. No. We're not done with this.
Also
I would
from
kill
Elliot,
you in all of these.
Would you rather run up and down the Campanile Hill 10 times or participate in a KU swim practice? Wow, man, I'm going with the Campanile. I have to.
I might too. Swimming is
swim
hard.
practice. Oh my God!
Swimming's
There's
hard.
no way I'd be able to do that.
There was one time when we were living in Emporia, we got like a week pass to the Emporia Rec, and they had a pool in there. And Piper was like, "Oh, I heard swimming's a really good exercise." I was like, "Yeah, I could swim. Like I remember when I was a kid, I'd swim all the time. I'd be playing in the water. Swimming's easy. That's a perfect exercise." I went and I actually swam laps for the first time. Horrible.
I would die at a practice for any of our athletic programs, I think.
How fast?
After we just pumped ourselves up, I think either of us would be dead.
How fast do I have to run up the Campanile?
Oh, I think you can jog.
Timed? Okay, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah,
I do that.
Surely.
Running up though. Am I going on the side? Because the sidewalks are kind of long. If I'm going like a straight line, probably. But the sidewalks can go a little on the outside.
God.
Plus they have the stairs too sometimes.
I think I could motivationally do that. Plus, you don't have the embarrassment factor. I mean, maybe people are watching, but it's not like a swim practice when everybody else is there.
Yeah, 10 times is a lot though. How long of my break? How long are the breaks in between? Like, can I take like a 10-minute break in between?
That's true. Good question.
Like, I'll do that. I'll spend a day out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if it's like run up, back down, 30 seconds, run back up, no chance.
Yeah,
that's horrible. But
no, there's no way. I would not be able to physically.
But here's the thing: I would kill Sean in both of these too. I mean,
is that so?
Yeah. If we had a race 10 times up to Campanile, I'd kill you. And then in KU swim practice, oh my gosh.
The problem is when you and I finally play one-on-one in basketball.
I cannot wait. You've been dodging me.
The problem is it's not even going to be fun because we're both going to want to win so bad.
Yeah, you've been dodging me.
I have not been dodging you. We've been over this.
Oh, it's
you
not
asked
gonna
me
be
the
fun.
one time during the week that I'm
we might have to take a
available
break
to be at
from
home.
the show like for a week because it's going to be so competitive.
It could be. I know. I don't like it. I don't like it.
We're gonna be down each other's throats. So yeah, I guess. So Elliot, to answer all of your questions, yes, I would be Sean and everything. KU Naji, he wants to know: give me your top 5 Bill Self era one and dones.
Josh Jackson.
Why is that the first name that pops
Joel
in your
Embiid.
head? Joel Embiid barely played.
He didn't barely play. He got hurt at the end.
What about like Xavier Henry? That's a good pick.
That's not as good a pick as either of the first two that I had. Got to put Wiggins up there.
Yeah, Wiggins. Grady Dick, Johnny Furphy.
Oh, I know you love Dick.
I do. I do love Dick. Grady Dick is he's great. Great basketball player.
Mm-hmm.
That's some other one and dones. So Devon was here 2 years.
Just to clarify, so you know, Joel Embiid played 28 games for Kansas.
Oh, for some reason I thought it was like 20.
I don't
All right,
know.
fine. Whatever. Gosh, who are some other ones? I'm trying to think. Because KU's had a really good stretch of, what about, does this count Malik Newman?
See, no, it can't be. Well, he wasn't even because he redshirted a year, so he was here
that's
twice.
right. There, you're true. That's true.
I mean, one and done's, yeah, it's kind of limited, isn't it? I mean,
relatively.
I think you gotta. I know that you grabbed Dick immediately, so you've got
right away.
You've got Dick. Then you said Xavier Henry. I said Josh Jackson, Andrew Wiggins, and Joel Embiid. Who are we missing?
Sheik Diallo.
Yeah, Sheik Diallo was.
Yeah, it was like 0.3
Cliff
point
Alexander.
per game. Cliff Alexander's good, but like, would you, like
Kelly Oubre?
Ooh, yeah,
He's a good
that's a
player.
good pick. That's a good pick. Kelly Oubre, shout out.
Yeah.
Were there any one and dones on the 2012 team? No, all those guys were. Yeah, man. Were there any one and dones on Remy Martin? But still, you said that doesn't count, right?
Right. Transfers, I would say.
Transfers don't count.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, that's probably the
solid.
list right
I mean,
there.
I
Josh
think,
Jackson, Andrew Wiggins, Joel Embiid,
Grady Dick.
And would you put Furphy in there?
Probably Xavier ahead of Furphy.
Sure. Okay.
But
I think
yeah,
that's fair.
I mean, there's probably maybe 10 realistic guys that you could choose from, a pool of 10 guys.
Yeah, that's true.
So yeah, we need, I mean, Jackson, Embiid, Wiggins, and Dick, I think everybody's picking. Right?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's, yeah, you got the four right there. Andy said, how does Gene Taylor come out of this spilled Tang mess? Good word choice there. He hired him, gave
It's a
him a ridiculous
sticky
contract,
situation.
and now brought negative national attention to Manhattan. I think this is the funniest outcome that's happening right now.
Absolutely. Isn't it great?
It's
Because now,
hilarious.
but don't you find yourself on Tang's side now?
Weirdly, yeah.
Kind of what we talked about yesterday was, I mean, the root of what we want is for K-State to suffer.
Right.
So
They don't have
it's
money.
not as much Tang to suffer anymore. He's not there. And
As a
now he's going up
taxpayer-
against him.
As a taxpayer with my tax dollars going to K-State, I don't want that. I don't want that money going to Jerome Tang.
Right.
Yeah. As a
Right.
taxpayer, selfishly, I'm like, eh. But also, it's like, it's very funny because K-State does not have $19 million laying around. And Jerome Tang hired these like national guys, these national lawyers, big time name lawyers. They're going to try to sue them for even more damages.
Going to try to embarrass.
This is going to be interesting.
K-State University.
I think because I think somebody. Oh gosh, I'm probably going to get this wrong, but I thought I saw somewhere that Gene Taylor's buyout's like $2 million.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh,
something
God.
like that. Where they extended him for a while, and if they fire him, they're going to have to wind up paying him $2 million extra dollars.
Which that's
so they're going to have
pennies
to
on the
get a
dollar.
new AD and a new basketball coach, and it's just like
That's pennies on the dollar compared to Tang, man.
No, I know, but still, it's like they don't have the $19 million. What makes you think they're going to have $21 million to
Gene
fire
Taylor
another
is
guy?
68 years old.
Oof. Do you think Gene Taylor gets fired?
No. But man, this is getting messy, right?
It is.
It's literally like you get a jug of Tang at the store. And then if somebody were to come in the Kansas Nation studio and just like splash it everywhere. I
do you
mean,
buy
that's a
Tang by the
sticky
jug?
situation. Yeah.
Isn't Tang like a powder and you put it in the jug?
You
you
can't
can't
there
buy
used to be
it by
no,
jugs,
no,
right?
Didn't you used to
I thought it was a powder.
kind of like Sunny D? I think that they had
Sunny
they had
D
options
also?
to where you could. Yeah, they have options where you can. Okay, it looks like the main thing that I'm seeing are like the Kool-Aid jammers, the things with the.
Oh yeah,
You know what I'm talking about?
Sure. Yeah, I'm
so
with
you
you.
do have that.
Tang.
So yeah, it's mostly
shout out.
It's mostly
Drinking that
the
Tang,
powder, but
spilled
yeah.
Tang. Yeah, I think. I mean, okay, they might force Gene Taylor to resign, right?
They might.
And not take his $2 million.
I mean, but
to
what
try
are
to save
what are they going to do about this mess in general right now?
I don't know. Buy a lottery ticket and pray.
Right.
I think that's.
I mean, the fact that they tried to pull a for cause because of him going to a press conference, which was ridiculous. That's like I said at the time, him
You said it
trying
sounds like
to
a
get
guy
fired.
wanted to get fired.
Yeah, and maybe it was true. I mean, but he's going to win out on this. Best case scenario for K-State, they pay Tang what, $12 million?
Yeah, they'll probably. I mean, they're going to try to reach a settlement, I think. But if you're Jerome Tang, you don't leave anywhere under, I would say, $16 million.
Yeah,
like you don't settle for anything less than 16, or I even say, pay me all the damn money that you owe me. Pay me the 18.7.
Pretty sure that's what he's gonna go for.
Josh, he wants to know, how did the Hawks respond after a disappointing game on Saturday? Potentially big gut check the last couple of games of conference play.
Positively.
I think so.
I'm going to say the Birds respond positively. I think they'll be able to score. It could be an up and down affair.
Yeah.
If Kansas plays anywhere near their ceiling defensively, then they're going to win because Oklahoma State's ceiling defensively is nowhere near KU's ceiling defensively. For what it's worth, KU is -6.5 tonight, according to the most recent thing I saw at this game. Kind of similar to what they've been most of their road games. They've gone as small favorites. Also, BYU plays Arizona tonight. A little bit more on game picks a little bit later. But that, I mean, you and I were talking about it off air. If we can get Arizona to 4 losses, like you had the recipe. If we get Arizona to lose to BYU and then to beat Houston, then both those teams have 3 losses.
Yeah. And then if
Kansas doesn't have a lot of margin for error, but that way, if Kansas loses a 4th game, then
you're right there.
That would only give both of them 3 losses, to be clear, but still.
Right. And if Kansas winds up beating Houston, but then losing to Arizona, would they have the tiebreaker?
If Kansas beats,
right, because then they would beat
so
Houston. They also would have beaten Texas Tech.
So if all 4 teams are tied, or let's say all 3 teams, if those 3 teams are tied, and we'll say Iowa State's not in it, then Kansas, Arizona, and Houston tied. Let's say, for the sake of argument, they each have 3 losses, so they're all 15-3.
Yeah,
Kansas would be 3-0 against Arizona and Houston. So Kansas would be the 1 seed.
Yeah.
But if they have 4 losses, if Kansas loses to Arizona and Arizona loses to
Houston,
say BYU and somebody else, but they beat Houston, then Arizona would be 2-1 against Kansas and Houston.
And they would jump them.
And Kansas would be 2-1 against Arizona and Houston. And Houston would be 1-1 against Arizona and Kansas. So then you would go to the next team, I think, which would be Iowa State.
Oh, yeah. I was thinking Texas Tech, but after the loss against Arizona
if
State.
Arizona, that would depend on what happens in the Arizona-Iowa State game.
Right.
If they go 0-1 or 1-0, because Kansas 1-1 against Iowa State.
Right.
So who knows? But again, you got to beat Oklahoma State.
There's a couple of different scenarios where, like you say, Kansas holds their own destiny, but also, like, a lot of other things have to happen. And there's a lot of different
They hold their own destiny in terms of
that
getting
could
a tie for the Big 12 tournament at least. That's for sure.
Yes. Right.
Seeding, who knows? But they control their own destiny for getting at least a tie and a trophy, all that, if they win the next 6.
Who knows? Berg, he says, if DP ends up taking us on a deep run into the tournament or helps us somehow clinch a share of the Big 12, does his injury saga get forgotten about at his whenever you think about him at Kansas?
100% absolutely. It gets completely forgotten about. Look at Remy Martin. That's all it was. Remy Martin, people forget about it unless you're somebody who follows every possession like we do.
Yeah.
That was a whole saga with his knee, and it was all a mess. And then all of a sudden he was able to play in March, became Remy Marchin, and a little bit of Remy in the evening, as Bill Raftery would say. He completely carried Kansas.
Was it
large portions?
It was a Final Four game. No. Gosh, what was that Elite 8 game where he had those 2 giant threes?
Yeah, it was the UNC game. It was the national championship game.
Oh, it was the national championship.
Yeah, he had a couple massive threes, but he did it. He did it against Creighton in the second round. He did it against Providence in the Sweet 16. He was huge in the Big 12 tournament as well. And everybody forgot about it, and everybody's like, oh, why can't this guy be like Remy Martin? It's like, well, you guys hated him all throughout January and February, and it was a mess. And then March is when legends become legends. Yeah. So, for sure.
So, okay, so hear me out here. If Darren Peterson is the leading scorer for Kansas and takes us to a Elite 8, are you forgetting about it? And we lose in the Elite 8. Don't make it to the Final Four. Because I think that's the line. I think you have to get to a Final Four, all is forgiven.
That's a good question.
That's the line.
I like it. Do we not win the Big 12?
I would say Ooh, that's another good one. Do we win the Big 12 but then go to an Elite Eight? That also changes it.
I think if we win Big 12 and go to the Elite Eight, then yes.
Okay.
I think that we're
forgiven.
We're okay. But if you go to the Final Four and Peterson's a big reason why, or whoever, then absolutely it's forgotten about, and yeah, we're good.
Makes sense. Cole, I love this question. Cole says, I'm playing pickleball as a first date tonight. Should I absolutely destroy her or let her get a few points in?
I'm just glad that you're not playing pickleball against Dan, because I assume Dan's the greatest pickleball player of all time.
Really
because he's such a great
Any
athlete.
netted sport, really.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm ping pong is one of the two things that I'm not humble about, but really it's all netted sports. Like
All netted
you
sport.
try
Okay,
to take
yeah.
me on in pickleball. You try to take me on in badminton. I'm great.
I'm telling you, man, get you a belly full of Bill Self pasta, and you are clicking on all cylinders. Cole, I would say you got to give her a few points, man. I think you do.
Yeah. I think
if you're that confident that you're gonna wipe the floor with her,
it depends on how many games you like. If you play like first game, I think that's a fun conversation starter too. Like first game, you let her take some points, and you go, "Oh man, I'm a little rusty. Hey, man, you're pretty good." And then like game 3, you're just like, "Whoa, bam, whoa, bam," just killing her. I think that's great.
Does soccer count as one of the netted sports that you're great at?
I'm pretty good at soccer.
Huh?
It's that Latin blood flowing through me.
There's a net involved in lacrosse as well.
I've never tried lacrosse.
Hockey.
Never tried it.
There's a lot of nets.
I bet I'd be good.
Oh, I'm sure you'd be. I'm sure you'd be just great.
I'm sure I'd be fantastic at them. I'm really good at pickleball.
Chris says, did Nebraska coach Fred Hoiberg do anything wrong when he scuffled with and slapped the cell phone out of a court-storming Iowa student's hand who had gotten in his face last night? This was after the Battle of the Corn went the way of Iowa. Iowa
Bowl.
Over Nebraska last night. We've got the video, do we not? So that's the up close and personal, and you see, and Hoiberg, somebody who's never been in the news for anything like this.
I know.
Nebraska's actually lost 4 of 6, but they were in the top 10, so I guess it's okay to storm the court, if you're a program like Iowa.
Iowa's favored.
guess. But yeah, I know it's
that's a
always
bad
silly.
look.
Honestly, that's one thing that's always kind of a bummer about March Madness is people love the big seed upsets, but then it's like, oh, well, Vegas said this was a 2-point.
Right.
Yeah, so it's like, it's kind of
it's not
it's not as fun. So just ignore that stuff.
Good for
just
Iowa, I guess.
Ignore the lines, look at the seeds. But yeah, Iowa, good for them. I don't think he did anything wrong by any stretch.
I mean, if I'm here after an embarrassing thing, and I'm not saying it, maybe embarrassing is not
After
the right word.
anything in general happens, somebody does that.
Yeah, somebody puts it like, get out of my face, dude. Like, what are you doing? And like, obviously, no, I don't think he did anything wrong. I'm actually on Fred Hoiberg's side here.
Yeah, Hoiberg's a respectful guy, and he was shaking hands. And I mean, look at what Jason Kelsey did.
Oh my gosh, that was insane. Jason Kelsey just literally took a guy's phone and spiked it. I think because Fred Hoiberg has never done anything like this, that's why I'm on his side, because like obviously, but if it's like, I guess like perception's everything, right? Like imagine like Dan Hurley did this, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then I think we might be having a different conversation, and that's problematic on us.
And that's fair.
So I don't know. I don't think he did anything wrong. Adam says, if you could add one true freshman from this year's stellar recruiting class to KU's roster, who would it be? Of all the freshmen
currently, and
so not the incoming, but I think what he means is one true freshman from this year. So you're talking Cam Boozer, you're talking AJ, you're talking Kingston Flemings, you're talking the kid. I'm blanking on the kid from Illinois' name.
Keaton Vogler.
Yeah. So look at KU's roster right now. Where do you think one of those guys shines above the rest? I would say maybe look at AJ or Cam and put him at the 4. Not that Bryson's bad, but I'm saying those guys are phenomenal.
God, really good question.
Because you don't want to take... I mean, you could take Trey out and put in... And maybe shift some things, put Kingston Fleming in.
This would be a cop-out. So this is a total cop-out, but...
Give me Darren Peterson.
Three guys came to mind, depending on what you want. It wouldn't be Tabonsa for me. He's
interesting.
He scores a lot. He's kind of a volume guy. Obviously, he's a freak, and anybody would take him. But Cam Boozer is somebody who's so. I mean, he plays like a 32-year-old NBA vet.
He does. He also looks like it.
And he is such a great passer out of the post. That'd be good. Again, we don't want to stab anybody on our team, but he's obviously a special talent. Caleb Wilson, I saw in person, and he's hurt right now for UNC, part of why they got absolutely obliterated last night in Raleigh. Henry Vasar is also dealing with some stuff, but Caleb Wilson, really smooth guy. He's got the kind of Durant build. Not as good of a shooter as Durant, but he's smooth, lanky, NBA body. And then, Kingston Fleming's just kind of a guy who's a natural scorer, and Pete's been struggling, though.
I know, but we saw him up close. Freshmen don't look like that.
Yeah, he's a big dude.
He's massive. Like his arms are the size of my quads, and I have big quads because I'm such a good athlete.
I'm such a good athlete. Yeah. Hey man, you've been fueling up on protein. You get protein and carbs generally for your meals
from the Bill Self pasta.
Yeah, that's right. I wasn't even thinking about that.
It was really good the other day. I wish you would have had it, man.
Yeah.
But you insisted on getting a salad.
I would have been offered.
Had
I been offered, I would have enjoyed it.
Oh my gosh. Last one here. Cody says, "What's your favorite appetizer?"
Cody, were you not listening?
Yeah, I feel like avid fans, at least people
Cody's is probably lettuce wraps because he's such a health nut.
He is a health nut.
Yeah.
No. I've seen Cody. Cody, by the way, he's going to be the best man at my wedding.
How about that?
Yeah. I just drew a name out of a hat and just wanted to be. No, I'm just
Cody,
kidding.
how does that make you feel?
No, I'm just kidding. But I've seen Cody put down an entire box of Oreos in 20 minutes.
With milk?
No.
God, that is
dry, just raw.
Double stuff?
Not double stuff.
Oh my God, man, psychopath.
He's
single stuff Oreos and no milk.
He's like a crack addict, like how I would imagine drug addicts are with drugs.
Doesn't he
That's
own
how he is?
Doesn't he own a gym or work for?
He works at Orange Theory.
Yeah,
and he's like the most fit dude ever.
I keep thinking Orange Theory is going to advertise for us, but they just haven't. Committed.
Pushback.
I don't get it.
Pushback.
Yeah, there's some pushback.
No. Yeah, he's also a big frozen fish sticks guy.
Huh.
That was an interesting one.
Those can't be healthy.
No, but the dude is. I mean, he's jacked. He's jacked, man.
Yeah.
It makes me violently angry.
Oh man, no. Anytime I see
I'm trying to be healthy.
He is jacked. Anytime I walk into a room and you and him are both in, I said, "There's one of the better looking, most athletic guys I've seen, and also Cody." I mean, so he is really,
I appreciate that.
A special.
You have been vocal about that before,
talent.
and I know you don't go out of your way to say that. It's more of just a guttural, like it has to.
Guttural.
Yeah, it comes out of you like a ghost. Yeah, no, I appreciate that.
Yes.
So all
appetizers,
in all,
though, one of our favorite
Sean,
topics of discussion.
Can we schedule a date? I have a basketball hoop at my house.
Are we not going to answer the appetizer question?
Oh, well, okay. Well, all of our fans know. But you want to go 3, 2, 1. Fried
chicken
pickles.
lettuce wraps.
No, that's not. No, it's fried. Sean's is fried pickles.
Fried pickles are my favorite. If you go over to Johnny's Tavern West Lawrence, a great local sports bar with over 13 locations from Raymore to Topeka.
Over 13 now. Well, it's soon to be 14.
It's about to be 14. Yeah. Shout out to Wichita. Also, shout out to our listeners who are tuning in a little bit earlier on ESPN Wichita 92.3 FM.
And if you're watching on YouTube Live, Facebook Live, or KansasNation.com, let's set a date. Either at my house, and I want to get this going. I got to form it because I got to get with like Shreyas and Henry and Nick and all these guys because Nick Springer, his apartment complex has a basketball, like a full court.
And I know Nick thinks he can hang with anybody too in terms of hoops.
Yes. So I want to get a media game going, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
I would love to.
I want to be down there with Michael Swain, like throwing bows and like, Matt Tate and different guys. Like, I think that would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I would love to get
Ritter in there.
Get a little 3-on-3 going.
Yeah.
3-on-3, two of us, Lotta, Greenstein, maybe Will DeBoer, and Flaherty. And Springer.
Well, Nick, yeah.
Springer, yeah.
Yeah. But
so we need a.
But no. Here's the thing. I want to set a date for you and me, 1-on-1. What's your schedule look like next week? We'll film it and we'll put it on the show. I don't care.
Schedule next week. So Hawks play Big Monday. Tuesday is my wife's birthday, so that's not going to happen.
And Wednesday is your birthday.
And then Thursday, obviously can't on Thursday.
Or is Thursday your birthday?
You'll never know.
Okay, Thursday.
You'll absolutely never know. Anyway, I guess we should kick it to a break.
I guess. No, no. You set a date.
All of the tabs just closed on my computers.
Set a date right now.
Relaunch.
You're a
update.
coward.
Right.
You're looking at me stalling. I'm not going to throw it to a break until you set a date.
I'm seriously. I'm down to play whenever. I'm down to play hoops, but we got to find a time in advance. It can't be
a date.
It can't be a hey. Let's
Sunday?
go. Let's go.
We're doing Sunday.
No, I need a date and a time. I've got kids at home.
What do you mean? I'm asking you
Sunday
for a date
at what
and a time. I'm
Sunday
free.
at what time?
I don't have kids.
I know.
I'm free
you
whenever.
Make that abundantly
I'm going off
clear.
Your schedule.
This Sunday. This Sunday?
Yes.
Okay.
What is he thinking about?
Let's do evening time.
Okay.
Where's this going to happen?
I mean, I could hit up Nick and see if I could do it over at his apartment complex. I also have a basketball hoop at my house.
But it's not full court. Text my wife and essentially ask for permission because she is home a lot with the two kids.
This would be perfect
when I'm home, man, I'm home.
We have pressure on us to create content for the listeners. This is the perfect kind of content.
Hey, you float it however you want. I know that sales.
And you're a coward. He's scared.
I know. Hey, you sell it just as you sell everything else that you sell for Kansas Nation. All right, you sell it the same way. No pushback. No pushback, and maybe you'll get a yes.
He's changing the subject. You see what he's doing? We're gonna ask my wife.
I'm telling you. Sell it to her.
If I can.
Sell it to her.
It's gonna take 20 minutes.
Just as you do when you sell Kansas Nation advertising.
We'll play basketball for 20 minutes.
Okay.
I'm gonna beat you 11-0, and then you go home crying to your wife and children.
So we're not doing the media game. We're doing the one-on-one.
I want to do a media game, but this is something that we can talk about right now.
You need to. I agree. You need to start the group chat and say, hey, here's the time, here's the location.
Okay.
There you go.
All right, I will.
Right, that's the plan.
No. But no, stop. You're avoiding it. Are you good on Sunday?
What time? That's what I'm saying. You got to. Okay, Sunday evening. Is this one-on-one or is this?
This is one-on-one.
Yes.
We're gonna go one-on-one first, and then we'll do the media game.
Yes. Is one-on-one going to be in your driveway?
Maybe. We'll find We'll find a court.
Your driveway is not really conducive to.
It's not good. I know. That's why I'm saying. Or we can find another.
We go to any of the community courts. Okay.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm gonna kill you. Oh God, I can't wait.
Well,
Georgia break.
Should we do loser buys Bill Self pasta? Oh, are you kidding? You won't have to buy it. That'll be on the house. Hey, that's our KU Mailbag segment for today. Stick around. More Rock Chalk Sports is coming up. KansasNation.com, ESPN, Kansas City.
KansasNation.com is presented by Game Day Men's Health Lawrence. Step up your game with Game Day Men's Health Lawrence.
Go all electric in a 2026 BZ for 0% APR. Built to move you, designed to electrify. Low APRs for 2026 Camry and Tundra models.
Together, we're elevating our potential, our pride, our traditions, and our dreams. Together, we're opening up a whole new world of possibilities. Elevate your University of Kansas experience with Jayhawk checking from Central Bank. Central Bank and KU, elevating together.
Hi there, Gary Joslin with Joslin's Jewelry. I'm not the class ring company. I'm a mom and pop jewelry store for 42 years. We were recently voted the gold medal #1 jewelry store in the greater Kansas City area by Ingram's Magazine. Come see us at Joslin's Jewelry, 9529 Antioch. Joslin's Jewelry, the jeweler you'll recommend to your friends and family.
Joslin's Jewelry for the best that's yet to come.
Hello, it's Mark Whitlow from Office Products Alliance. OPA is not just your local office products connection. We have expanded our offerings to network cabling installation, security cameras, door access, and IT services. We all need to keep pace with new technologies. You can trust a Kansas City company that has been your partner for 32 years. Check us out at opakc.com. Supporting local businesses and our community is more important than ever.
Every weekday beginning at 6 a.m., Stephen St. John kicks off your morning with New Day with SSJ. Then at 10, get in the zone with Jason Anderson. And at 2, listen to the program with Soren Petro, Kansas City's favorite sports talk. Only on America's largest all-sports radio station, Sports Radio 810 WHB, the power of sports.
Welcome back in the Kansas Nation studio for Rock Chalk Sports. Game Day Men's Health Lawrence will get you back in the game. Check him out in West Lawrence. Mitch Bales and his team do a great job. Great partners of us here at Kansas Nation. It's a full-fledged medical clinic. They'll make you feel comfortable when you walk in. If you're experiencing low energy, ED, you think you might have low T, they can get your questions answered over at Game Day Men's Health Lawrence. It's a man cave-like setting. They've got bubbly, they've got snacks, a 3-step process, and the first visit is totally complimentary. No reason not to check them out. Game Day Men's Health Lawrence. Tell them the guys at Kansas Nation sent you. And yeah, really appreciate their partnership and love, honestly, breaking some bread with Mitch over here at Kansas Nation, Dan, when he's able to swing by.
You had me at snacks.
Snacks.
Mitch Bales is a great guy, though. Great hang, and obviously does a great job over at Game Day Men's Health. So be sure to, check him out. Hey, some news regarding the Big 12 basketball tournament. DJ Khaled, we the
pretty
best. Good. Thank you. He's going to be performing at the Big 12 basketball tournament after party presented by Venmo.
And after the party,
an official partner of the Big 12. The event will take place at KC Live in the Power and Light District on Saturday, March 14th, following the conclusion of the men's basketball championship at the T-Mobile Center. It's going to be his first time in Kansas City. Isn't that crazy?
That is weird. He's never performed at Kansas City.
That's kind of crazy. Also, DJ Khaled is, I don't want to obviously throw any shade. I think it's going to be an excellent time. It's going to be awesome for sure. But DJ Khaled doesn't have any songs. He's like a guy in songs. Like he'll have like a verse here or a verse there. And then like he's a beat maker. So he'll make the beats and then other rappers or singers will sing over them. So there's like Justin Bieber songs and, like different. So all he does is go, DJ Khaled. He doesn't like.
Who's the,
I think.
Jason Derulo. Jason Derulo.
Yeah, that's good.
That kind of reminds me of that.
Yeah, I mean, he's just a guy who yells. Kind of like Lil Jon, but Lil Jon actually would rap. I don't think DJ Khaled raps at all.
DJ Khaled, according to Big12Sports.com, this official release, his performance underscores the Big 12's commitment to enhance its marquee events in bold and unexpected ways. Last week, of course, and we talked about this on Rock Chalk Sports, Big 12 announced it will utilize ASB Glass Floor's state-of-the-art LED video sports floor during the men's and women's basketball tournament. Which it says reinforces the league's focus on innovation and differentiating its championship environments. Obviously, Brett Yormark has done a lot of good for the conference expansion, that sort of thing, and trying to make the Big 12 tournament a bigger deal. I will say this, and I don't know if this has crossed your mind or not.
Doubt it.
What are your thoughts on this being after the championship game? Because I can't imagine.
You wanted it to be before?
Yeah, maybe one of the
halftime.
I guess it makes sense because the championship game's at 5, and the day before the Big 12 games are at 6 and 8:30. Be too late, I guess, for him to start a concert after that. It's just, if you have a situation last year, and correct me if I'm wrong, I'm fairly certain that last year's semifinals were Houston, BYU, Arizona, and somebody else that was not Iowa State.
Tech?
It might have been Tech.
Yeah.
Or Baylor. I think it was Tech.
Right.
So, again, think Kansas City, Arizona, Houston, Tech, and BYU. You have some fan bases in those that travel really well, like BYU. But the Big 12 tournament being
BYU
in Kansas City.
fans would thrive at a DJ Khaled concert.
There is that factor. But I remember thinking last year in Kansas City, this is like worst case scenario for the conference and for Kansas City in general, because K-State fans, their team's not usually very good, but they You're going to have all sorts of Kansas fans there. There have been years where all three of those teams have been in the semifinals, but now there's 16 teams, plus you've got some powerhouses in Arizona and Houston now. You're not seeing that as often. I guess I know the point I'm trying to make, other than when you get down from 16 teams to 2 teams.
So would you
it's more and more likely that 2 of those teams might not be a KU or an Iowa State. Hopefully it is, and that's best for Kansas City. But, I mean, if you got, say, West Virginia against UCF in the championship game, not that that would ever happen, but if that were to happen, then, I mean, who's sticking around?
Yeah, but also, would you want to go to a DJ Khaled concert on a Tuesday night?
No, I agree. And
Or
again,
Wednesday
like I
or
said,
Thursday,
every other day of the tournament goes later.
I mean, like
so
Saturday
it makes
night,
sense.
That's. I think this is good because
I'm just
that,
saying,
that gives people a reason to stay.
Okay, and that's good. I'm just saying that if KU and Iowa State, because those are the top 2 fan bases that are in Kansas City year after year, aren't playing in the championship game, are you going to stick around to watch, Houston against BYU or whatever in the championship and then go watch DJ Khaled? I don't know. I'm not trying to throw shade at it, but it's just interesting, right?
Yeah. I mean, I'd stick around to watch BYU in Houston and then go across the street, watch a
probably
DJ Khaled
if you've
show.
committed. If you've committed. And Iowa State's good enough, Kansas
if you already have the time off of work or whatever, like.
Well, it's Saturday. In Kansas, they're local, so it's not matter. But Iowa State fans, they lost, if you remember, in the quarterfinals last year to BYU, even though Curtis Jones went absolute nuclear because they didn't have Taman Lipsey. But, yeah, if you're an Iowa State fan coming down, you're probably committing to staying until Sunday anyway. So, I don't know. Maybe it's a moot point. But, yeah, DJ Khaled performing after the championship game Saturday. Again, people who watch the show, I'm sure know, but Tuesday, 9 through 16 are the seeds that play. 5 through 8 play on Wednesday against the winner of the 9 through 16 4 matchups. And then the double bye goes to 1 through 4 seeds. They don't start action until Thursday. And important to some, 1 seed on Thursday plays at 2.
Yes.
The 4 seed plays at 11:30. And the 2 seed plays at 6, 3 seed plays at 8:30. So if you're planning to go to Kansas City, then those are the seeds and the times that it'll be.
We don't want to play on Wednesday either, but 3 seed would be okay. Late night for us, obviously. Mm-hmm. So hopefully you get to that 2 or 1.
Yeah. Again, you got to feel good. You got to feel good if Arizona and Houston somehow both get to 4 losses, which to us, as we've discussed, would entail Houston losing both to Arizona and to Kansas, and also probably would entail Arizona, if they're going to win that game against Houston, losing tonight to BYU.
Right.
Then Kansas has done well enough to where they're going to have the tiebreaker over a lot of these teams, particularly if Kansas beats Houston.
Like, and we talked about this a little bit, though, but it's like if if BYU can beat Arizona and then Arizona beats Houston, Kansas is right back in it. And I think that's the way that things need to go. Iowa State, I mean, I got to look back at their schedule. They still have, so they have BYU on the 21st. They also have Tech in Arizona too. So if Arizona can knock off Iowa State, then that would drop them to 4. I mean, because I remember Brian Haney coming on the show a couple weeks ago, voice of the Jayhawks, VOTJ, said something like, I don't think a 4-win team can win the Big 12. And it's like, if things continue the way that they're, or 4-loss team, sorry. 4-win team definitely can't win the Big 12.
Right.
If I don't think
ask K-State, maybe they could get 2 more.
Right. But I don't think he said, I don't think a 4-loss team can win the Big 12, but the way that it's looking right now, it might be, and that might be the most ideal way for Kansas to win the Big 12.
It's the most ideal, but again, that involves Houston going on a 3-game losing streak.
That's the thing. Yeah. And
which could happen, but they're probably not going to lose to Arizona at home and then also at Kansas. But who knows? A lot of games tonight in the top 25 in the Big 12. We're going to have some game picks after this, including that BYU and Arizona game. And, of course, KU Oklahoma State. That's the big one tonight at 8 o'clock, 6:30 with the Crimson and Blue Show across the Jayhawk Radio Network. Game picks coming up after this. ESPN Kansas City and KansasNation.com.
What's up, everybody? Dan Peterson. Everybody go check out KansasNation.com.
This is SSJ. Winter in Kansas City doesn't mean your lawn takes a break. It means smart homeowners get a head start. Let David and his crew from Custom Lawn and Landscape prepare your yard for a greener, healthier spring with winter fertilization, soil conditioning, and pre-emergent treatments that stop weeds before they start. Because when the snow melts, you don't want to start fixing your lawn. You want to already be winning. Trust Custom Lawn and Landscape, treating your yard now so it looks incredible later. Visit CustomLawn.com to schedule your winter services today.
Performance, style, and technology. Check all your boxes in a 2026 Atlas, now 3.9% APR, or get 3.9% APR on a 2026 Jetta, the compact sedan that redefines the standard.
Hi there, Gary Joslin with Joslin's Jewelry. I'm not the class ring company. I'm a mom and pop jewelry store for 42 years. We were recently voted the gold medal #1 jewelry store in the greater Kansas City area by Ingram's Magazine. Come see us at Joslin's Jewelry, 9529 Antioch. Joslin's Jewelry, the jeweler you'll recommend to your friends and family.
Joslin's Jewelry for the best that's yet to come.
Listen up, guys. Summer is coming, and there's no better time than right now to ignite your health and feel your best. Whether you're chasing peak performance, trying to reignite intimacy, or simply want to feel your best, Game Day Men's Health Lawrence is your calling. Situated in a plush man cave setting, their services for testosterone replacement therapy, ED, vitamin therapy, and weight loss are sure to give you the boost you need. Make an online appointment today by searching for Game Day Men's Health Lawrence. Step up your game in 2026 with Game Day.
Together, we're elevating our potential, our pride, our traditions, and our dreams. Together, we're opening up a whole new world of possibilities. Elevate your University of Kansas experience with Jayhawk checking from Central Bank. Central Bank and KU, elevating together.
Welcome back to Rock Chalk Sports, closing out with some game picks here on this Wednesday edition. And appreciate everybody watching on YouTube Live and Facebook Live as well. If you miss anything, check out YouTube or check out Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere you get your podcasts if you want to listen to the audio version of our show. Right. Custom Lawn. Dan, I know you've been working hard on your lawn, of course, protecting the basketball hoop that you've got in your front yard and the koi pond you're protecting in the backyard.
Yes. Well, the koi pond is completely tore up right now. It looks terrible, and I need somebody to help me with this. I know I can call Custom Lawn and Landscape to make my lawn look great, because you know why? Spring lawns, they don't happen by accident. They're built in the winter. February is a key month for soil treatment, pre-emergence, and protecting trees and shrubs from the cold. Call Custom Lawn and Landscape now. They are scheduling winter services, and spots are limited, so you can schedule online at customlawn.com, or you can call them. Custom Lawn and Landscape, better lawns start early at customlawn.com.
Custom Lawn and Landscape partners with us here at Kansas Nation. Game picks. Full slate tonight. It's not like a Monday. Wednesday, a lot of basketball, and we're just going to kind of go through the top 25. Number 20, Arkansas, Dan, is at number 25, Alabama. Bama is minus 4.5. How about the over-under in this game? 184.5.
My goodness. A giant over-under. Two prolific scoring teams. Alabama's been weird this year, though, man. Like, they've dropped a couple that they really shouldn't, and I understand this one's in Tuscaloosa, but, I mean, you talk about, like, LeBaron Philon and some other guys like that, some solid players. I like me some Arkansas.
Philon plays for Alabama, though.
I know.
Okay.
But I'm saying I just like Arkansas in this game.
Okay. Darius Acuff has been going off. He's a freshman we didn't talk about a little bit earlier.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
But, yeah, Acuff and Philon, that'll be a fun outing. 184.5. I mean, that is
It's a high line.
94-90, I guess, is projected to be the score. That's crazy, the game in Tuscaloosa. Will Dan Hurley have crowd support in stores as they welcome Creighton, one of the teams that Dan Hurley name dropped when he said, when we go on the road, they fill the stadium. UConn, ranked number 5 in the country. They're minus 15.5 hosting the Jays, who are down this year, over under 143.5.
Yeah, they're absolutely down this year. And looking at DraftKings right now, 98% of all the bets are on UConn right now. The public does like the 15.5. That's a big line, especially for a conference game. But like you said, Creighton's down this year. I like UConn to cover this spread barely. This feels like a 16 or 17-point game.
Number 17, St. John's, is at Marquette, who's also down this year. Marquette's plus 8.5, over under 158.5.
Marquette's been playing some good basketball, but so has St. John's. St. John's had that weird brawl. We didn't even talk about that, by the way.
I know. Duncan Powell, man.
Duncan Powell, the worst
team
haircut.
all Berber.
Last team all Barber. The worst haircut I've ever seen.
Suspended only 3 games for that, by the way.
Yeah, so that was kind of crazy.
We also haven't talked about Mick Cronin. He ejected his own player.
I love that.
That'll be a stock market thing.
Yeah, we'll throw that on
Save
stock
that
market.
on Friday.
Yeah. Well, let me write that one down. I think I like Marquette to cover in this one.
Yeah.
I think Johns is going to win, but it's at Marquette. I can see them covering. I can see this being a little bit too close for comfort for old Rick Pitino.
This play takes us to the place that we never want to go. As number 19 Vanderbilt heads to Columbia. Home team is plus 2.5, over under 153.5. It's so vital that Mizzou loses this game. Got to get them off the bubble and out of the tournament. Do you like Vandy laying the 2.5?
They're right on that bubble. Mizzou has some good wins this year. They beat Kentucky, even though Kentucky's bad. Didn't they beat Alabama?
I have to look back. They had some nice wins last year.
Yeah,
they beat Oklahoma on the buzzer beater.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
They won at Texas A&M recently.
Vandy's good, though. Give me Vandy in this game. Not just because I hate Mizzou. I think Vandy's good. And Missouri is going to have a lot riding on this game, but I think that they lose this game, and I think that it takes them maybe off the bubble. Maybe they're in the first 4 out, next 4 out, that kind of thing.
Real quick on these games before we get to the Big 12 games. Number 14, Virginia at Georgia Tech. Cavs are minus 13.5, over under 148.5.
Yeah, I don't like Georgia Tech, even though it's in Atlanta. Give me Virginia. They're playing good ball.
Number 10, Illinois at USC, minus 9.5 are the visiting Illini, over under 150.5.
This feels like a weird line. I don't know why it's this close. So that's why... Feels like a trap line. I'm going to take USC on this one.
All right. And then we go out west. San Francisco in the Bay Area hosting number 11 Gonzaga. Dons are plus 14.5 at home, over under 148.5.
Gonzaga's got pressure on them ever since losing to Portland. You cannot drop any WCC games. They know that. They got to keep their foot on the gas. So give me Gonzaga to cover this one.
Well, you're going to have to flip back and forth between the KU Oklahoma State game and the Utah-West Virginia game. West Virginia minus 10.5. This game tips at 7:30. Over under 131.5 in Morgantown.
Ugh, what a disgusting game. Give me the under. I don't like 131. I don't want to touch the line. West Virginia is a lot better, but they're still not good. Yeah, I like the under 131.5 in this one.
8 o'clock. We go to Tucson. Number 4, Arizona, hosting number 23, BYU. Zona will not have Koa Pete, if I'm not mistaken. BYU, of course, won't have Richie Saunders. Zona is minus 12.5, despite coming off back-to-back losses to Kansas and Texas Tech. Over under 162.5. What do you like? Do the Cats get right?
I like the under in this game. I think without Pete and without Saunders, that takes away a lot of scoring for both teams. A couple of guys are going to have to be able to step up. Who it's going to be, I don't know, but I think it's going to dramatically change the scoring of this game. Give me the under in this game. I think that's a lock. And I like BYU to cover this line. Anytime I see a ranked team over 10.5 as an underdog, I don't like it. So give me BYU.
All right, Gallagher-Iba Arena, the side of Oklahoma State, hosting number 8 Kansas. Pokes are plus 6.5, over under 158.5.
Are you shocked by this line?
What are you going with? I was not shocked by this line.
I think Kansas should have been like 8.5.
Oh, KU generally, I feel like most of the games they've been like 4.5 point favorites when they've gone.
No,
on the
I
road.
know that's true. I just,
yeah, you like the Hawks.
Give me the Hawks. Give me the Dan Courtright special. Kansas wins, Kansas covers. A lot of scoring in this game, over 158.5. That is an absolute lock.
KansasNation.com all night coverage of KU and Oklahoma State. Of course, you can listen to that on the Jayhawk Radio Network, especially if you don't have Peacock. We should throw that out there. The game is on Peacock tonight. So listen to the Jayhawk Radio Network if you're not able to tune in. 6:30 Crimson to Blue show coverage on the Jayhawk Radio Network. For Elijah Schmidt running the operations and Dan Courtwright, Sean Kellerman saying, let's go Hawks. Rock Chalk tonight. We'll catch you guys tomorrow from 4 to 6 on Rock Chalk Sports, ESPN Kansas City, KansasNation.com.
Together, we're elevating our potential and opening up a whole new world of possibilities. Elevate your University of Kansas experience with Jayhawk checking from Central Bank. Central Bank and KU, elevating together.
Better water now, pay later. What's not to love? Hey, it's Bob with Culligan Water. And for a limited time, we're offering no payments and no interest for 6 months on the water you and your family deserve. Our state-of-the-art residential equipment creates water that's purified, soft, and delicious. Contact us today for details and schedule your free consultation online at CulliganKansasCity.com. Culligan, it's water you love.
We have a great selection of vehicles here. What's the best fit for you?
Maybe something a little smaller. Maybe just a little bigger. Getting closer. Perfect. Come experience the chrome difference.
Together, we're elevating our potential, our pride, our traditions, and our dreams. Together, we're opening up a whole new world of possibilities. Elevate your University of Kansas experience with Jayhawk checking from Central Bank. Central Bank and KU, elevating together.
Haney and the Hawks is presented by Jefferson's with 2 Lawrence locations. Home of the best wings in town, 21 signature sauces. You got to check them out. But if wings aren't your thing, how about a burger? They hand patty their certified Angus beef every single day. Also, hand bread their tenders. They make their ranch in-house. There is truly something for everybody at Jefferson's. Go see my buddy Brandon Graham and the entire crew at Jefferson's, either en masse or walk